All right, beautiful Monday. Good morning. Welcome to Good Morning Kenya. It's the 10th day of November 2025. We are glad that you are up and early with us once again on this very good way to start your week. How are you doing? Welcome to the program. Call me Victor Ulo. All right. So today on this program, we are to talk about so many things happening in the country, including the dream of having the country, of having moving from third world to a first world country. That has been a dream by President William Ruto for far too long. He's been talking about that, and I want us to take a look at that. What are some of the skeleton that we need to reconstruct as a nation? What are some of the fabric that we need to mend? What are some of the foundation that we need to build as a nation to move us from the third world country to a first world country? That is the dream and desire of the president. He's actually accused some leaders of negativity. And so let us talk about that at exactly 7. And my guest will be here. I'll be talking to Dr. Daniel Kanchori. He's an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. He's also strategic management expert. He'll be here. Honorable Mark Ndingo is a politician. He's also a political analyst. And finally, I'll have Oscar Omondi. Oscar Omondi is a political and governance expert. He's also a university lecturer taking political science. Let's take a look at that. What does it really take to move this country from a third world nation to a first world nation? All right, we've been compared to the Asian tigers, Vivian, right?
That's exactly what it is. And it's a conversation that is very timely because, you know, as you've mentioned, the president is really certain that it is possible for us as a country to, you know, move from the third world country status and get to become one of the first world countries. According to him, it is very doable. But we've seen his critics speak against it. For example, we saw the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua mentioning that, you know, he just brushed it off, believing that, you know, President William Ruto does not have the capability to do that. So this is a conversation that is really timely, and yes, you should be listening or staying tuned to Good Morning Kenya so that you can be able to follow that conversation at 7 a.m. with Victor and his named panelist. Now, away from that, today being our Monday, we talk matters family, and today will be no different. We're still going to be concentrating on the holidays. You know, children are back home, so we're going to be looking at ways in which you get to balancing from work to balancing family time, as well as, you know, just ensuring that everything is balanced in the homes this holiday period. You definitely want to stay tuned for that conversation, and we'll be allowing your feedback on the same. So stay tuned right here on Good Morning Kenya. Did I say hi?
To who? To me?
No, not actually, even to you, to the people. I realized they just talked about different things but forgot to say hi to them. So
now you can say hi to Marie.
Good morning, Marie.
3, 2, Marie, hi.
And good morning, everyone else. Marie, how are you?
Fine, and you?
I'm good.
I'm also well this morning, and good morning to you joining us here in Nairobi and across the country. I'll be bringing you up to speed with what is happening in as far as the news is concerned. And becoming a first world country, definitely, Victor and Vivian, is not a walk in the park. The talk, as you say, Vivian, is timely, but for me, I think it's overdue. Ever since independence, I think that is where the leaders then pronounced that Kenya needs to move forward in terms of education, you know, poverty, economics and all that. So when we compare ourselves to the tiger nations all the time, the question is, how did they do it? So in as much as there's that aspiration, I think there's the need to describe how will that be? Because industrialization, I want to think, is one of them. And if I've been talking to some economists some time back, and what they describe for me, Kenya is a consumer nation, meaning that most of our, you know, usage is from outside. We don't really export as much. So those are the dynamics. But I guess Victor will be able to delve into that deeper later on in the program. But right about now, let's begin with the news, where the Kenya Secondary School Heads Association has called for speedy investigations into the disappearance and subsequent death of Simon Isiaho, the principal of Bunyuki PAG Secondary School in Lugari, Kakamega County. They have threatened to disrupt the ongoing Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education KCSE examinations if investigations do not unravel the circumstances surrounding the principal's death. The body of the principal, who had been reported missing, was found floating on River Kipkaren on Saturday.
The search for Bunyuki PAG Secondary School Principal Simon Isiaho ended in tragedy after his body was found in River Kipkaren early Saturday. The retrieval of his body from the river threw the area residents into a state of anger, shock and mourning, with questions abound as to what might have transpired. Officials from the Kenya Secondary School Heads Association are now demanding swift investigations.
If the sub-county is not able to do its work, we are demanding that the director of a criminal investigation at the headquarters must send a neutral team to ensure that the truth and the perpetrators of this case are brought to book. If we cannot be protected, then we will not teach. It is very dangerous for a teacher to be exposed to that extent up to being murdered in such an awkward way.
They have announced plans to hold massive demonstrations on Monday, demanding justice for the slain principal.
We have learned that in the previous past, some of our principals and teachers in the Lugari constituency have been intimidated by politicians.
What is this that he had done that he deserved this?
It was a very undignified death, and we are demanding justice for that. We are saying as a union, if this investigation, if the perpetrators are not brought to book, by Monday, the teachers of Bunyuki will not go, by January, the teachers of Bunyuki will not go back to school.
They have also called for enhanced security for teachers, saying that national examination papers should be delivered directly to schools to prevent similar incidents in the future.
Tunataka kupendekeza kwamba walimu wakuwa pewe ulinzi, na katika ulinzi waweze kupewa bunduki zile ambazo tutakuwa tukitumia hapa ili kuweza kujihami sisi wenyewe, kwa vile tumegundua kwamba tuko na maadui wengi.
The deceased was last seen alive on Monday, the 3rd of November 2025. He was reportedly heading to collect KCSE examination papers. His car was later found crushed, but the principal's body was not at the scene of the accident.
Nancy Okwari reporting there. Now, President William Ruto has directed all Kenyans in possession of illegal firearms to surrender them to the relevant authorities in the coming days. Speaking in Baragoi, Samburu County, the head of state noted that those firearms have caused nothing but death, destruction and pain, warning that the government will not hesitate to use the necessary machinery and security personnel at its disposal to guarantee necessary security to the lives and properties of all Kenyans. That is, Abdiaziz Hashim brings us details of that story.
A day after gracing the Ma Cultural Festival in Kajiado County, President William Ruto, alongside government officials and leaders from the Ma region, joined faithfuls at the ACK All Saints Pro Cathedral Church, Maralal, Samburu County.
Kwa hivyo kila mtu iko na bunduki, tafadhali my friends, mapema asubuhi rudisha bunduki. Hakuna mwananchi atakuwa na bunduki. Wewe kama unataka kuchunga ng'ombe, tafuta fimbo, enda chunga ng'ombe. Bunduki wachana naye.
The head of state noted that those firearms have caused nothing but death and destruction among Kenyans.
Iko bunduki inachunga ng'ombe. Bunduki inaua watu, bunduki inaua wanyama, bunduki inaua watoto, bunduki inaua kina mama, inamaliza wazee, inatuletea wajane, inatuletea mayatima. Hiyo maneno tumesema no. Kila mwananchi achunge mali yake na fimbo. Watoto waende shule. Ama namna gani? Kama unataka mambo ya bunduki, tunaajiri police next week. Wewe kuja tukuajiri kwa police, uende ushike bunduki, uendelee na hiyo kazi. Ama namna gani?
The president further put on notice criminal elements in Samburu County who steal livestock and terrorize women and children in the region.
Mambo ya kuleta maafa hii dunia, mambo ya kukosesha watoto wetu masomo, kuleta wajane na mayatima, kuharibu usalama. Serikali ya Kenya tutasimama kidete. Wale watu nilituma siku ile wako njiani tena. Waambie hao watu waanze kufunga safari waanze kutembea.
Na kanisa wanalia na kuomba mambo ya usalama. I want to thank you and your government kwa sababu saa hizi mambo yametulia. We are not there, but at least there are some steps that have been taken that watu wanaishi kwa amani.
The president also called out individuals that paint Kenya in a bad light.
I see many people who don't believe in our country. I see many people who are negative about Kenya. I see many people who confess negative things about our country. Kama wewe ni kiongozi katika taifa letu la Kenya na huamini nchi hii, huna maono ya maana yeyote, huna mipango yeyote ya kubadilisha Kenya.
2027 succession politics also took center stage.
Your goal of taking Kenya to become a first world nation, you will not walk that journey alone. The Man Nation will walk with you.
Na kwa kweli yale ambayo umefanya kwa hii wakati mfupi sana, sisi kama jamii ya Wamasai umetufanyia mengi sana.
By the time we go to Achas, within this county, we shall have 1,500 units for affordable housing. The amount of money we will spend will be about 1.5 billion. Na hiyo ni kiojo tu ni ya kwanza.
The head of state assured Kenyans that he has every intention to fulfill all his pre-election pledges. He also laid the foundation stone for Baragoi Modern Market in Samburu County, as he is expected to launch key projects in the county on Monday.
Now, the Kenya National Private Sector Workers Union is urging the government and other agencies to work together in coming up with policies and reforms to improve the private security sector in the country. The union's National General Secretary, Isaac Andabwa, further encouraged the security guards to advance the academic qualifications for better prospects in their career.
If you work hard and we have a framework, God can also promote you from level A to P, just like police. We have corporal, sergeant, and so forth. Why not the cadets? Why not the cadets as a way of motivation? They begin from a lower level to a higher level in terms of training, skills, and knowledge.
Now, counties in the coastal region are recording high prevalence of the sickle cell disease, and an inherited blood disorder which affects hemoglobin, the protein that carries oxygen throughout the body. In this story, we tell you some of the mitigation measures that are being adopted by the health stakeholders in Kilifi to address a condition which has seen the Kilifi County Referral Hospital recording up to 1,300 cases annually.
Referral Hospital. Andrew Nzombo-Charo, together with his wife, have traveled from Watamu to bring their 2 children who suffer sickle cell anemia. Though Charo and his wife have no history of the disease in their families, their 2 children have since been diagnosed with the disease, which has been quite a struggle for the couple.
Kuhusu viungo, maumivu makali, mara mwili pia unakuwa na joto jingi. So nikampeleka katika hospitali ya rufaa ya Malindi. Akafanywa vipimo, lakini kule haikuthibitishiwa kama ni selemundu. Wakanirifaa nije Kilifi, Cambridge, ndo wakabainisha kwamba ni selemundu.
Watching his 2 children suffer from the pain of the disease has been emotionally draining for them.
Imekuwa safari ngumu sana kwa sababu mtoto wangu wa kwanza kabla hii dawa kupatikana hydrosurea alikuwa anakaa kama muda wa wiki moja tu, baada ya wiki nyingine analazwa.
Kadzo Katana from Bomani, Kilifi South Sub-County, has walked a similar journey for 39 years. Her story has been one of resilience.
Maumivu kwa wingi yalikuwa kwa wakati wa utoto. Usafiri kwetu Bomani kulikuwa kuna shida. Sasa mimi nilibebwa mgongoni mpaka miaka 10. After hiyo 18 niliishi maisha bila dawa miaka 10. So ndo nikaletwa Kemri kufanywa kipimo cha selimundo. Ndo hapo ikajulikana kwani ni sickle cell.
Sickle cell disease is a group of inherited blood disorders characterized by the production of abnormal hemoglobin, leading to misshaped red blood cells that can cause severe health complications. The counties of Kilifi, Kwale and Tana River in Kenya have an especially high disease burden.
Sehemu ambazo zilikuwa zimeathirika na malaria ndizo sehemu nyingi ambazo ziko na hizo sickle cell, kwa sababu zile malaria parasites zilienda tatiza na ile cell ya damu ile nyekundu, chembe nyekundu.
Kilifi County Non-Communicable Disease Coordinator John Moss said the county, alongside other partners, have deployed significant resources and manpower to fight the chronic disease, which, if not properly managed, kills children born with the disease before their 5th birthday.
A lot of the children we started off with are now in their teenage years. So we actually have a larger cohort of adolescent patients, which for us is a success because most of these children were thought to die even before the age of 5. So we're having better survival of the patients.
The Ministry of Health and other partners are also implementing different programs in 17 sickle cell endemic counties.
We have several programs that support sickle cell anemia patients. As we provide the clinical service, we're also able to do research, and our research is looking at just describing the disease in this population.
Aside from running 2 clinics for pediatrics and adult sickle cell patients, where they see some 1,300 patients annually, Cambridge Center for Geographic Medicine also is conducting research on the disease in the area.
Once the individual is confirmed to have sickle cell anemia, we enroll them into the clinic. Currently see about 1,300 patients a year, of which about 700 of them regularly come back to the clinic. And so the repeat visits are normally every 3 months. And when they come in, we just ensure that, especially at entry level, that they get all their vaccinations.
According to the World Health Organization, approximately 1,000 children are born with sickle cell disease every day in Africa. For KBC Channel 1, I am Teresa Mutai.
And we look at news making headlines in the counties where health stakeholders held a walk to raise awareness of the vital role played by radiographers in healthcare service delivery. The walk brought together KMTC students, radiography professionals, and other stakeholders in the sector. This and more in our County News Roundup.
The World Radiography Day celebrates a discovery of X-rays and recognizes the vital role radiographers play in modern healthcare. To commemorate the event, the Nairobi Women Hospital organized a community walk awareness activities highlighting the importance of emerging inpatients care. Elsewhere in Mandera County, residents have taken to the streets to protest the lack of electricity in their community, saying they have lived in total darkness for years. They gathered to voice their frustrations, accusing the authorities concerned of neglecting them despite the installation of electric poles under the Rural Electrification Program. The residents are urging the national and county government to prioritize the border regions like Mandera in the Rural Electrification Program to ensure equitable development across the country.
Hii area hakuna stima. Na sisi naye tulikuwa ni walimu, tunaishi hapa na hakuna stima hapa. Naye juzi watu ya survey wamekuja hapa, wamepima for almost 1 year na mheshimiwa Waitan. Na sisi kutoka siku hiyo hatujapata stima.
A luxurious yacht named My City, worth over $60 million, has docked at Kilifi County from Dubai, attracting both local and international tourists. Governor Gideon Morango says the visit will boost the local business and promote Kilifi as a luxury tourist destination.
We have started attracting also the high-end market of clientele. And this is what we want, not only just tourists, but also high-end tourists, so that they can also spend money and boost our economy in this country.
Elsewhere, more than 1,000 pre-operative technicians and technologists across the country are calling for formal recognition, regulation, and a defined scheme of service from the government to strengthen their role within Kenya's healthcare system. The association's patron Dennis Okech urged the government to move swiftly to streamline the profession under a structured scheme of service, saying it will improve members' welfare and enhance delivery of surgical care in hospitals nationwide.
And one major issue we have is the scheme of service. As you know, our members do not have a proper scheme of service, and we want to urge the government to move with speed.
Let me take you to northern Kenya, where women and children across Marsabit, Isiolo and Samburu still have to walk for kilometers in search of water. The wells that still hold water are shallow and crowded, a single source serving hundreds of people and their livestock. Sometimes clouds gather on the horizon, raising their hopes of rain only to vanish as quickly as they appear. In Drought Diaries, Ben Chumba takes us to the heart of northern Kenya, where survival is measured in sips of water.
Before the sun rises, the women of North Horr, children and donkeys begin their journey, chasing what the rest of the world probably takes for granted: water. Bare feet pound the earth, yellow jerrycans clatter on donkeys' backs. They are determined to continue. By sunrise, they have already walked 5 kilometers. By midday, they have covered 10. Every step is a reminder that here, water is not found, it is fought for.
Unaenda kutoka asubuhi mpaka jioni, unarudi kwa watoto wakati wameisha, hakuna kiu, wanaye njaa, hawajapata kitu ya kupikia chakula, ile maji unaleta tena inaharisha hawa.
Unaweza enda masaa kama jioni ukose juu hiyo watumizi ama wale wanatumia maji ni wengi sana.
At the end of the long walk lies not relief but disappointment.
Ukifika tena huko unajua ni ball moja tu, sasa tunategemea wote na wanyama watu kutumia, so unakuta huko unavenda unaingia line mrefu sana. Kama sasa wale tu at least wako karibu na hapo au na shota asubuhi, so tena ikifika time nyingine wanyama wanakunywa, so baadaye unakuta hata unaweza poteza kama 1 hour ukiongoja hiyo maji hiyo line.
They say water is life, and for residents here, water is something they have to chase every day. For some families, they have to walk up to 10 kilometers every day just to find it. And when they do, the water is salty. Too salty for the children, and sometimes even for the animals. Sometimes clouds gather on the horizon, heavy and promising, but they vanish as quickly as they appear. The earth waits, so do the families, watching, walking, hoping, only to return with empty jerrycans and salt-laden water.
Wakati mvua inanyesha maji ya tope ndio tunakunywa, wakati tunasema maji mzuri ndio tunakunywa. Wakati tunaenda kuleta ile chumvi, hakuna chakula inabika, ni chumvi saa yote watu na hara. Hakuna siku mtu hapana mgonjwa, homa, nini, kila kitu tunapata kwa sababu hiyo maji.
Balls ilikuwa imeshimbwa na projects na lakini nyingine kuka broken down kwa sababu tena maji ile inapatikana ni chumvi. So tena ile chumvi unajua inaharibu hiyo pipes. Ina rust mpaka inaharibika.
At night, hyenas come to drink from the same troughs where women fetch water by day.
Hapa tu kwa laga tuna shimba tu kidogo kidogo chemchemi tunatumia hiyo ambaye tunakunywa na pamoja na fisi. Usiku fisi, asubuhi sisi tunaamukia.
When thirst becomes unbearable, even fear takes a backseat. But that salty water, heavy with minerals, is slowly killing them. Kidney complications are rising among young people, some as young as 18.
Mmoja alikuwa amefariki, so wawili wako hospitali kwa sababu ya dialysis. Hii yote imeletwa na chumvi ya maji ya chumvi hapo, so tunasaidia, tunaomba serikali na washikadau wengine watusaidie kutoa chumvi.
The government has promised to install filtration systems, but the cost is high and the wait even longer.
Right now, Northern Technical Training Institute has such a system. At least now people can access safe drinking water. You know, it is a process, something that step by step, at least in future, every water source will have the reverse osmosis mechanism.
Until then, the people of North Horr will keep walking one jerrycan at a time across the desert with the hope that somewhere, somehow, in these dry plains, they will quench their thirst.
Chumba reporting there. I look at sports where Kenya Morans were crowned champions of the Zambezi Rugby Sevens Challenger after beating host Zambezi Cheetahs 14-0 in the final of the tournament played last evening in Harare, Zimbabwe. Now, after a trialless first half on a rainy evening in Zimbabwe and the Cheetahs having committed a head tackle that saw their man red-carded, Morans ran riot in the final 2 minutes, scoring 2 quick converted tries for the 14-0 win. Morans progressed to the semis after thrashing Old Miltonians 48-0 in the quarterfinals and then went on to beat Old Georgians 61-0 in the semifinals to book a final date against the Cheetahs. Zambia Impalas won the ladies' title after coming from behind to beat host Zimbabwe Warthog 17-12 in the ladies' final.
The line-out is won by the Zambia Impala. And here's number 10. She's been really good throughout the tournament. She lets it off. What a pass. What a play. It's a foot race. Chiwoniso Mabika is chasing. She's not going to be able to stop the Zambians from scoring their first try.
And that's where we put a cap on the morning news here on Good Morning Kenya. As always, thank you for your time and your company. My name is Maria Ambo, and definitely stay tuned for our subsequent news bulletins. My colleague Victor Lo is on standby together with the guests. He'll be on just after this break. I'm Marie Yambo.
Ningapatwa na marasmus.
Aje buda, woza marada. Marata iko huko Kisumu ni sule. Sijui anga watu type hii design pia usikianja. Nina stuka wewe. Aya. Ojo, for real I'm shocked. Inama. Kucha, enda vizuri.
Karibu kasto.
Kwani leo umeleta buffet?
Chuweke nyama sefil.
Wewe sijui unaitwa mama nani, sijui mama nje.
Kuna vyombo ulinipatia?
Mukaka mtafadhali utachapa mama ya wenewe nikiwa hapa. Wacha niando hii kesi.
Didn't you say he was dying?
Shh, shut up. Don't you even dare mention it to them.
I knew very well that this urgency to come to work here in Puebla has something to do with a woman. How can you do something like this to Daniela?
I was in the midst of the fire, flames and smoke. All I could think about was you.
Anyway, I'm very flattered. Because even if I'm an older married woman to you, you think that there is still someone who is attracted to me. Thank you.
Got the fear of missing out? Want to keep up with all the latest entertainment news and latest celebrity gossip? From the latest rumors to popping events to the newest fashion trends, here is where you get all the tea or juice when it comes to entertainment, and you get it served on time. All that and so much more on Grapevine every single Monday only on KBC Channel 1. Remember, if you did not see it on Grapevine, then it most probably never happened. Good morning. Welcome back. It's now 2 minutes past 7 a.m. Welcome back to the program. My name is Victor Losart. Now, being the 10th day of November 2025, politics is still playing our key role, and you know how we do it every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We talk about politics and current affairs. And today, let's talk about one thing that has been on the lips of the president for quite some time now. And the president for close to 2 months or so has been talking about Kenya's quest, ambition, aim, desire, and all that, and intention to move from a third world country to a first world country. So let's talk about that, the first world ambition. That's what you can see there, the first world ambition that the president is talking about. What are some of the fabric? What is the foundation? What do you really need to build for a country to move from a third world country to a first world country? And what is it exactly? What does it really mean that a country is a third world country, now moving it from a third world to a first world? The institutional infrastructure, the constitutional infrastructure, and so much more. What is the material that we need to use to build that country? And even you as a citizen, what role do you really play to move a country, more so Kenya, from the president's ambition, the third world country where we are today, to a first world one? All right, so my guests are already in studio. Let me start with Honorable Mark Ndingo. He is not new to Jerusalem. Actually, all of them are not new to Jerusalem. Mark Ndingo is a politician, a political analyst. He's been here with us for far too long. Mark, thank you for joining us. Karibu sana.
Thank you, Victor.
How is your Monday?
Monday is not bad. The weather is good.
Yes.
Yes.
So far, so good. And of course, I also have Dr. Daniel Kanchori. He is an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. At the same time, he's also development, strategic management expert, also joining us on set. Wakili, good morning.
Good morning, and Jambo Kenyans.
Jambo Kenya. You must be a happy man.
Oh yeah, I'm always a happy man.
I couldn't even locate you because all of you were donned in the real regalia. Were you there at the Amboseli at Kimana? I couldn't even locate you. You're all looking the same. That was so colorful. How does it feel in black and white?
Amboseli is back to their rightful owners. We thank the president for amecheza kama yeye.
Amecheza kama yeye.
Amecheza kama yeye.
Right.
And returning what has was taken away from us for 51 years. So we're grateful that now it's home. The Maasais are the real conservationists who are going to look after the animals. And we want to promise Kenya and the world that we're going to take care of Amboseli for the benefit of future generations.
Yes.
Yeah.
What does this really mean? Actually, KBC, who are live there, we covered that function from beginning up to the end. Perhaps to my kinsmen in Homa Bay County who do not understand what it really means now that it's back after 51 years to the rightful owners, in black and white, what does that really mean? Can I now move there and invest freely? The revenue collection, what is all about?
One, the animals are now safe because, you know, Maasai and animals, we are friendly. We know when to allow an elephant to drink water, when a lion is supposed to take water. So our animals are now safe. They are in the safe environment. Secondly, we expect that there will be what we call new generation tourism, because we are not only going to take care of the Amboseli, but also the ecosystem around there. There are going to be a vibrant ecosystem around the Amboseli. So the display of culture, more tourists, of course, when the game reserve is protected, new generational game reserve where we have a lot of ecosystem, more tourists, more revenue. So please, Kenyans and the world, come to Kajiado, come to Amboseli and experience a new generation national park.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for that. Oscar Monde is a political and governance expert. He's also a university don. He must be a happy man. After 60 days of Mandamano, now... Oscar, good morning. Good to see you, my brother.
Wherever they are. My happiness index is about 98%.
Yes.
You know, we also had an election with Suluhu winning 98%. And now happiness index of dons in this university, in this country.
The country was happy, so they had to give 98%.
Yes, the country was happy, have to give 98%, but one of the things is that there's persecution that are going on, and it will end up destabilizing. Unfortunately, the election in Tanzania might end up destabilizing the East African region because of the impact and the aftermath of that particular election that will take place in... and we are going to witness another election in Uganda also, which is part of the East Africa thing, and you know, Kenyans were released the other side and others were released on the other side. Otherwise, Sukanchori and Amboseli, I don't know what is the impact of Masai Mara, which was given to Narok County. I mean, how many years have been that, and what are the challenges that they're going through? Because now, for example, he's saying that there will be good tourism and what have you, but I've read somewhere in the press that the price or the tax on tourists visiting these sites have gone up. So I don't know what is the control between the national government and the county government who are now owning the park. Are you able to decide how much we charge in Amboseli as opposed to Masai?
Let me take up that question as they fix your microphone, Oscar. Sorry about that. I'll give you a minute to rephrase your question. But, Dr. You've correctly put it. I think it's on the front page of the Sun newspaper, based on what you've said, right? It's about multiple fees to hurt Kenya's tourism appeal. It took effect 1st of last month, and it doubled. I remember accessing actually Nairobi National Park, and that fee went to almost 1,050, from close to around 200, 300 shilling or something. It was triple. But the question is, how are you going to... I don't know whether it's going to only to affect Amboseli or all the national game parks and national reserves across the country, but perhaps we can talk about this headline as well as you talk about that.
You can say that it's already an appeal.
Yes.
The matter has been appealed, so it is before court, and we expect that it's going to be set aside. It's one of those bills that were passed in a hurry, and we don't expect that it's going to see the light of the day, because we want also to promote local tourism. You remember that when there, as my friend is talking about Tanzania, every time we have issues globally, our tourism is affected, because we've been focused more on tourists coming from outside Kenya. But what we are going now to do is to promote promote local tourism, because that Nyamachoma over the weekend, the children going to school, children going to our parks, having the people from Omba Bay visiting Kajiado, we want to promote that local tourism. For it to be hyped, I think is untimely, and something that must be set aside so that we can allow tourists not only from Kenya but abroad to come and visit our parks.
Very good.
Yes.
Okay, that story is actually continues on page 4 and 5. There are figures and facts about it. How industry players fear losing more affordable competing markets. That's on the front page of the Star newspaper. Still on the front page is actually it was about the demonstrations about the KWS getaway fees affecting national parks in the country. And of course, still, there's a pilgrimage to Bondo where hordes of mourners continue to flock to Raila's final resting place. That is here. We've continued to see so many guests getting there. Museum discovers early tool making in Kenya that survived 300,000 years. Early humans living in the Turkana Basin maintained consistent tradition. This is something that is on the second page of the Star newspaper. Quite interesting read there. All right, continuing there, it's the story on the front page is tourism in trouble, high park fees, hidden charges threaten Kenya's appeal. And now it's about increased game park fees and charges in payment systems have thrown Kenya's tourism and travel industry into disarray. And the sector players are now fearing losing more affordable competing markets as per the Star newspaper. Very quickly, the story that I want us to talk about quickly here is, before I get into that, let's talk about the front page of the Standard. The Standard says Trinity of Terror. All right, Trinity of Terror. That's the front page of the Standard. The three presidents of East Africa countries, we have got Tanzanians, Mama Samia Suluhu, we have got in the middle, Mzee Museveni and President William Ruto of Kenya. And the Standard is saying that when Uganda's Yoweri Museveni admitted that 2 Kenyans had been tortured while in his country's custody, he unwittingly fanned the flames of repression spreading across East Africa. Once seen as the region's elder statesman, Museveni now speaks as the world still reels from the bloodshed that accompanied Tanzania's October 29th election that handed President Suluhu's total victory and a new reputation for a strong arm rule. In Kenya, the soil has barely settled over the graves of slain youths, while others remain missing. East Africa is fast beginning to resemble the 1930s Europe of Adolf Hitler, Benito Mussolini, and Ion Ontesoku. So that's what's here. It's okay. Okay, let me just talk about that clearly. Mark, what do you make of that? I mean, we've been witnessing a lot in East Africa.
Yes.
With the latest one of the 2 Kenyans abducted for 38 days and released.
Sure. East Africa has been in the news for the wrong things. First, it started with the 2 Kenyans who were abducted in Tanzania, in Uganda, sometimes a month ago, and it took more than 30 days for them to be released after the Ugandan government denied that they were really arrested by the military, only for them to accept. I think it has been an issue of abductions both in the 3 East African countries. And it's for the 3 presidents of the East African countries to sit down and see how they are going to improve on this East African thing of cooperation and working together. Yeah, we can also not forget about the election of Suluhu Hassan that happened. It was an election between Suluhu and herself, which she managed to get 98%. I don't know who went with the 2% because she was competing against herself. And the implosion was expected because Tanzania has always been a peaceful country. Yeah, but not because the leadership has been doing well. It has always been suppressing their people, not to come out and talk about the human rights which are being abused there.
Yeah.
So it was something which was expected, and we hope that they are going to improve on what happened, because last night, yesterday, we saw Sulu welcoming the opposition for a handshake. We hope it's going to be to solve some of the problems, if not all, so that we can see a peaceful Tanzania moving forward. Yeah, we expect to see a lot. Ugandan elections are coming up this next year, and Kenyans are coming up 2027. So I think we are going to expect a lot of demonstrations moving forward as we wait for those elections.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's come back home and talk about what's happening in the country. And as you can see, let's talk about the first world country ambition. And Dr. Terry, let me start with you. The president has been quite vocal about this, and he says that his administration has a clear long-term strategy to turn around this country and to make us move from third world country where we are to a first world country. First of all, I mean, what do you really make of that? The president's dream and desire for this nation to grow?
Victor, first and foremost, just to go back to the story of the abductees, you know, one of them is Bob Jagis from Kitengela. He's from my constituency. And apparently he happened to have been among the Kitengela 3 who were also abducted during the Gen Z movement.
Yeah.
So we are happy that he's back home, and we just wish that our 3 presidents will make East Africa safe for all of us, because the feeling out there is that now when you think of going to Uganda or Tanzania, you have to think twice, which should not be the issue. We are an East Africa community. So that's actually a very serious diplomatic issue that the presidents needs to sit down. Because, you know, we are married, like in Kajiado, we are married in Tanzania. We have relatives in Tanzania. So it's not just about foreign countries, but we are brothers and sisters. And this should be the case, so that you don't feel scared. Like yesterday, my kids wanted us to go to holiday in Tanzania over the December holiday, and we are thinking twice. We are scared. We don't know whether we'll be declared
persona non
grata or rioters there. So it's a very serious matter that needs to be looked into. To come to your question, I think the use of the terms first world, third world, they are outdated. It's unfortunate actually that we are discussing those matters, because, you know, those terms were used during the Cold War. And it was first world was the countries that aligned with the US then. The second world, those that are aligned with the Soviet Union. And the third world were nations that were non-aligned. So we no longer have a Cold War. We no longer have those categories of nations. So even to be discussing whether we are third world or second world, that is outdated and is actually offensive, to say the least. Secondly, Kenya is not a third world country. It's not a third world country. Maybe we can categorize Kenya as a developing country, maybe a middle income country, but the use of those terms from our history, the leaders actually should go back to history and apologize even for categorizing Kenya in those, and even entertaining such a debate, because it's outdated and offensive. Yes.
Oscar?
Yes. Dr. Kachuri says it the way I would say it in class, because I teach political science, and now we don't have even countries, neither do we have even states. Now we call them economies. So we have the Chinese economy, the Kenyan economy, the American economy, and all the economies. And now these are the economies, like the Kenyan economy, are called the emerging markets. Yeah, the emerging markets of the Koreans and all this, and the developing countries. So those categorizations means a lot in political debates. When you call them, even people who are fighting against President. We lost that time during the Third World things. We used to call rebels guerrillas. You know, you don't allow to call them guerrillas anymore. You call them rebels or in a nation because they're fighting for something. Anyway, about these abductions, and I told you about this African region integration, and now Kanchodia is not able to go for December holidays because of this silly, reckless leadership that we have today. And I heard one time the late Prime Minister's daughter, who is EAC, East African Community Legislator, saying that they have not been paid for almost 4 or 5 months in East African Parliament. That means that Parliament is also there. That means that counties are not contributing. The other thing was, remember when Raila Odinga was running for AUC, East Africa could not speak as East Africa. There was really a problem. And by that time, we also had a war in Congo around Goma area, and SADC was more influential to bring that people to talk together than East African community.
I know even SADC had an influence in the election.
In the election of in Congo, and also in Tanzania. So the SADC becomes a stronger integration bloc than East African community. And now you see whatever is happening. These are small things that, I mean, if you arrest people, you've not just got the list of people who've returned from Tanzania back to Kenya, who are first arrested and detained, arrested and detained in Tanzania. And the reason of being detained is one, that you are Kenyans. And oh, sorry. Sorry about this one. And now, what happens is, this one will affect our integration. In terms of business, whatever is talking about, if you go to these borders, if you go to the border between Turkana and Uganda, the people who live in Kenyan side are called Turkana, and the people who live in Uganda side are called Karamoja. And now, if these people are brothers the same way, so the borders should not be, the authorities that are living in those borders should not be able to stop them from operating as a people. You should not have just to erect borders, because actually, when you talk about borders, where do the real borders are? Are we only talking about physical borders? Because I can erect a border on you now by declaring you a person on Grata, even if you're in Nairobi. Even if you are in the middle of Dar es Salaam doing business, somebody can erect a border against you there and then. So we should be very, very careful so that we don't really interfere with East African integration, and we work as the people of East Africans. For example, if you go to Gikomba Market, almost a quarter of people who work there are people from Tanzania. The people who sell sugar cane in our streets are Tanzanians. And if you go to Rwandese who are here, Kenya has been very good home for foreigners. If you look at Nigerians who are in Kenya, the Asians who are in Kenya, the Tanzanians who are in Kenya, they have their peaceful thing. The music that you listen to in Nairobi is Congolese music most of the time. Number one music in Nairobi is Congolese. And bongo music from Tanzania. So we import music. We import music from our neighboring countries. We import music from Congo. We import music from Tanzania, which is bongo music, and has been like that for all along. So I think the leadership that we have today should be able to really rethink. Number 3, the youth bulge in Africa. The youth are really want change. In Tanzania, in Kenya, in Uganda, the story is the same. The story is the same. Just change how you do things now. The story is the same. The demonstrations were in Kenya, the Gen Z demonstrations, the demonstrations and whatever happens with Bobby Wine in Uganda, the demonstrations we have in Tanzania. Nobody imported like Suluhu who wants to convince Tanzanians that actually the people who are demonstrating here are Kenyans, they are border riders from Kenya. No, this is rubbish. I think what you do about some of these things, let us deal with the youth bulge. And dealing with the youth bulge, make radical decisions. Radical decisions is, for example, what the UDA or the ruling coalition has not managed to do, which they must do for us not to experience a lot of violence in the elections. Deal with cost of living crisis. I was in the village over the weekend. The cost of living crisis is a nightmare, and those empowerment process, I say, Bwana President, do me a favor, reduce the cost of fuel. That's it. That's radical. Just reduce the cost of petrol. That's it. We will be able to deal with all these things that we're dealing with. You will be able to reduce the cost of living. So long as 1,000 shillings cannot buy, then we are into a room shock. Even as whatever happened in Tanzania, we are playing with something that will go out. And what the Gen Z said, that hiyo Tanzania ilikuwa ni kionjo. Then they want to influence Uganda. And you see, the problem is governing the global space we had industrial revolution, we had agrarian revolution, you know about this history. Yeah. We had information technology revolution. And information is power. And even if you look at the Arab Springs, who were coordinating the Arab Spring that pushed all the leaders around the Arab Springs in that part of the world? Yeah. It was not done from Tripoli. It was not done from Libya. It was not done from Tunisia. It was not done from Cairo. People who are sitting in the UK, who are diaspora of these countries, were doing all these things on Facebook. But they were coordinating things down there. So you cannot be able to be physical because Suluhu now has almost 2,500 people on treason charge. How can that be? That you have 2,000 people on treason charge, physical. The people who are controlling this thing are not people even living physically in Tanzania. And that is why the last time I told you, even IBC, I told you IBC will not register any voter here. They're not registering. Why? Because you're targeting the Gen Zs who don't accept physical documents. They want a portal to register. Let that be sense and look at these things in a practical way. So even in Kenya, unless we know people who are controlling the revolutions in Kenya, who are not people who are living in Kenya. Some of people who were Kenyans in X spaces living in the US, some of them were living in Europe, some of them lived in China, but they were controlling whatever was happening in this country. And Suluhu Hassan cannot know that. I don't know if Museveni is old, but William Ruto should be able to think about it.
Wow. Okay. Did you answer my question when it comes to third world country to first world?
I told you there's nothing like third world. He had already answered.
It's nothing like that.
Who is third world? If you come to Nairobi, there's no big difference between Nairobi and the streets of Brussels. Like, we have a good airport here, and we have learned people in Nairobi.
I want to take a quick break, but before then, Oscar, what did you eat in the village over the weekend? you tell us that. You tell us that. Let's come back to you, Mark. I mean, he talked about economies, not worlds, not countries anymore. But this ambition, when over time you've been given this example of the Asian tigers, talk of Singapore, talk of Korea. But these countries did not wake up in the morning and say that we are going to make it from where we are today to where they are now, that country or those countries. Perhaps it took them blood and sweat.
Sure. Yeah, Victor, being ambitious for a country is not bad. But you also need to look at the people now driving the ambition. The other day we were given the 2030 vision, 2030, which is yet to be achieved. And here now we are talking about first world. We are not going to achieve first world with the current state of affairs because first, for a country to be in a first world, you must tackle the issues of governance in a way that you show you that you are interested to take your people somewhere. But if you look at a situation like Kenya, where we are still struggling to implement our constitution, which was passed in 2010. Yeah, it's a big challenge because one, we cannot achieve that first world stage when we are still struggling with the devolution. Since 2010, the constitution had given the county governments 15% of what's the revenue from the national government. But after even 10 years, 15 years, the county governments are receiving the same amount, which now brings the question, how are we going to achieve that first world when we are not even supporting devolution? Look at corruption. Corruption has always been an issue. And a country cannot even develop without tackling corruption. If you compare Kenya with countries like Malaysia and Singapore, any time a state officer is caught with corruption, it does not take more than 2 or 1 year. That person is charged and jailed. But if you look at our country, Kenya, we only talk about corruption. We have the bodies which fight corruption, but nothing has been achieved. So there is a lot. We need to tackle corruption. We need to tackle our governance system. We need also to tackle what the lecturer here has told us, employment of the youth. Because you cannot develop a country whereby you only have some few people who are employed. There is no even an age limit of when one is supposed to retire. Sometimes back, the retirement age was raised to 60, away from 55. That means we are going to have so many people working who don't even have the charisma and the knowledge to drive the economy forward. So I think there is a lot which needs to be tackled for us to talk about fast forward fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I want to serve Oscar tea. At least this will cool him down. Oscar, are you okay with that?
Yeah, but you see, we don't have to have tea. We have very short time to execute this, or unless you want to go commercial.
Let's take a break.
Let's take a break.
We're not bad. Stay with us.
Got the fear of missing out? Want to keep up with all the latest entertainment news and latest celebrity gossip? From the latest rumors to popping events to the newest fashion trends, here is where you get all the tea or juice when it comes to entertainment, and you get it served on time. All that and so much more on Grapevine every single Monday only on KBC Channel 1. Remember, if you did not see it on Grapevine, then it most probably never happened.
And welcome back. Oscar is on air. Okay, let's come back. Daktari, I mean, it's an ambition, and this one requires individual planning and for nation systematic changes, institutional changes, for us to move together as a nation. You said we use the word economy now?
Yeah, economy.
But for the sake of this one,
for the sake of
from the way President says, third world country. Okay, so this one requires a lot of work. He's talked about the Asian tigers. You are just accused of corruption. By midday, you are normal. That's how strict they are. For us, we have got bodies fighting corruption in this country, and he said that, you know, they still struggle with even autonomy to do their work.
Let me sip a cup of tea. Victor, it's actually...
Okay, gentlemen, welcome to Cup of Coffee. Kanjori, you've done it. Karibuni.
Asante, thank you for the cup of tea. You know, I've had the privilege to be in both Singapore and Malaysia.
Yeah.
In my former capacity as a member of the County Assembly for Kajiado, and also as a businessman, just to enjoy and learn from their technology. And when you hear His Excellency the President talking about Singapore, I think it's a good talk in the right direction. But that needs more than just talking. It needs more than just a political statement in a baraza. Because when you visit those nations, one, they have working systems. It doesn't matter who is the president, who is the next president.
Yeah.
They have deliberately put systems so that, one, there are little resources. You hear a country like Singapore, they have limited land. They actually have to reclaim, they are reclaiming the sea to be able to get more land. That's how straining they are. They have limited land. Secondly, they are actually now, the water they are using, they are recycling the sea water and all the wastewater. That's what they are using. They are not having any wastewater. Here in our country, we have just had rains in Kajiado. The last 2-3 days, we could not cross rivers. But now all the water is gone. Now we are talking about where to get water. And when you read the news about education system, issues to do with the education system, the ministry has now declared, and Professor is here, that come January, there will be an increase in all boarding schools. It means if you are a child from a poor family, now studying in a boarding school, even the local boarding school, is a pipe dream. It's actually unimaginable that now our local children cannot afford to go to a local boarding school because of the fees that have been set there. So our academic system must be put into a standard to ensure that we have innovation, access to education. Our infrastructure system, look, we are struggling to build roads here in Nairobi. And Nairobi is just a county. Rather than connecting roads to link all the other parts of the country, so that our farmers are able to bring their agricultural products to the markets. You have one side of the country with excess produce. Another part of the country is suffering from hunger. So it must be a deliberate system. And with the kind of parliament we have, which have been captured, they are just talking about they have to be paid to pass important bills. I think it calls for a whole paradigm shift for us even to come to that table of discussion. But just putting it as a political statement, it is offensive, as I say. It is inakera, inasumbua zaidi.
That is the question, because it looks more...
With the people walking around with money, dishing out, as he's saying, in the name of empowerment. Is that the kind of empowerment that we want to do for a first world country, where politicians, where Kenyans are paying taxes? But, well, these taxes are being wasted in an attempt of empowerment. We have seen this Nyota program. They are saying you have to be of a certain age, you should not have gone to a diploma or a university. Is that the kind of national youth opportunity that you are giving to our people? So we have to rethink the whole system of our policies and laws. Yes.
When you look at, Oscar, I mean, there should be national level development, first of all. It has to start from the top. And then it percolates down to common mwananchi to understand what it really means to move from a third world country to a first world country. There has to be some national concern and a deliberate concern about it. But we're only hearing from the president alone.
Yes, one thing from what, again, Dr. talks about, that as a Minister of Education who wakes up in the morning and says from January there will be fee increase, who tells him? Where does he get that information from? Is it scientific? Are there we are in November, and somebody tells you that January we will have school fee increase. From where? So first world countries or whatever, the developed economies don't work like that. Not just an individual who wakes up from sleep and because he's a Minister for Education and says, oh, Kwanzaa Monday, school fees. Who? Where? How did you prepare these people? Who came up with those policies? Was there a research that was done that we need to justify this one? And a system where 2 months students have not been in university, first world country or first world economy, rubbish. What happens in those economies is, for example, education that we give. I got education from those countries myself. But to them, education is not for that individual. They don't educate the individual. The education is meant for the business community. The education is meant for the nation. So it is upon the nation to give education to the people for the development of the entire nation. So education must be free. You see, so long as you still think that when you educate Oscar, you are educating Oscar to help Oscar. Oscar's bills are very small. But when I teach at the university and teach 300 students, do you think the money that they give is given to me? No. We are training lawyers, we are training business administrators, we are training agriculturalists to help the nation, not to help these individuals. So companies, big companies like Safaricom should also come in as stakeholders because they're going to benefit from it. When we have a good educated community, everybody benefits. But so long as we have policies where education fees is going up, then we're coming down as a nation. I thought now with this administration, we should have had policies like we had with the Moi Kibaki of free primary education. That was an indicator of the first world now. Education and health, two things. Education and health. And you know where we went wrong as a world? When we started selling water and toilet. Yes, when you have to go to a toilet to answer a natural call, then you have to pay. When the taps that we have here, in those first world countries, just go to Johannesburg, ile maji natoka kwa mfereji is drinkable. You can drink, you can go to a tap and get water and drink.
Actually, what you just need is an empty bottle. You just need to walk with an empty bottle. You can access water anywhere.
In this country, the taps that we have here, if you go to the restaurants here, when you ask them for water, they tell you, ile iko ni ya kanjo. And it's not drinkable. When we can't get drinking water, talking about first world countries, when we can't get education for our kids, talking about first world country, when we can't get health working, the devolved health that was taken to the counties is collapsed. In my county, Siaya, we've not had health workers work for the last 2 months. People are dying. So what do? We develop mortuaries and we sell coffins in a first world country. So the thing is that it is everybody speaking for themselves. And what are we talking about? What is the policy that Dr. Conchari, do you know the policy we have today? Everybody is talking about 2 term, 1 term, 2 term, 1 term, 2 term, 1 term. What is that? It's useless. How can we be talking about 2 term and 1 term for a whole year? Instead of talking about what policies do we have to make sure people go to school, to make sure health is working, to make sure agriculture is working, and whatever has kept this government in power is only one thing. Let me tell you, the rains. The rains have been, God has been so good to us for the last 3 years that the rains are enough and people have food. If we had a drought during this regime that we had here, you could have seen war come from Turkana, people fighting for pasture and water. But it's been lovely that we've had rains, and we have rains and rains and rains, so that the cattle in Kajiado and what have you don't have to come to Nairobi. They always here most of the time when it is too dry there. So whatever policy that we should, you see, like for example, if you go to a country like Sweden, the timetable of university runs for 20 years timetable.
Predictable.
20 years. We know that on this particular day, 4th of June, there will be thesis defense in that room. In 2027, it will be there at 9 to 10, unless something like COVID happens. Something so radical happens. But here, students who are going back to university now, because the strike was called off yesterday, don't have a timetable still. And now for the administration to work so that Oscar and the rest can get to work, it takes another 2 weeks. These guys have been out of class for 2 months. Whatever has happened, do you know, in one of the classes, I tell you, in the University of Nairobi, 2 students I know who committed suicide during that particular time. Do you know that the empowerment program that we had over the weekend, I think 2 babies died because when people were told that this man, there was a stampede. But there are women who are carrying babies so people are stampeding and stepping on the babies. This is where we are. It's a very sad situation of what we are doing. And the people who are bearing policies that we are supposed to deal with, like, for example, the empowerment money, why don't you use it to reduce the cost of fuel? You know, you can use it as a priority.
Okay. Mark, let's talk about the issue of industrial and innovation culture. I mean, for a country, for us to move, the industries in this country must be opened up. And that has to come from some quarter. Kenya, we're a productive country, so much so. When you go to Kamkunji down here, when you go to Juakali down here, the kind of handiwork that is being done there is enough to spur us from where the president has that ambition from a third world to a world class. But is that happening?
I think, Victor, we are a long way to go. If you look at our Juakali sector, which is a sector, if the Juakali sector is empowered very well, it can even spur development in our country. But what is happening now is we tend to know what is supposed to be done, but we do which is not supposed to be done. Because if you look at the leadership we have at the moment, we have people who have gone through training. They are experts in their own training. But if you look, for example, what I'm talking about the Juakali sector, if you look at the person who is given that docket to man it, you find is a different person who is supposed to give a direction to that sector. A good example of what is happening now. You know, the ministries of our government, which are about 22, you'll find a person who is supposed to be given the Ministry of Health, who is supposed to be a medical doctor, is a profession in that field, is not the person who is given that ministry.
Yeah.
You find the government giving the ministry to a politician. And the Prof here has said it well. If you give a politician a job to run, he's not going to look at how he's going to improve that sector. He's going to look at how he's going to amass wealth, get back to the next elections, and be elected. So that's where we are getting it wrong. A country like Dubai, if you look at Dubai, how it has managed to be a developed country, it's not because they have different people. It's because they have given their leadership to visionary leaders who look at how in 10 years' time where their country is.
There is a blueprint.
Yeah, but we have a long way to go. Look at our education system. We have the very good experts. We have very good advisors on where we are supposed to go as in the education sector. But whenever it comes to implementing whatever is supposed to be done, you find there is nothing. There is totally nothing. Look at what is happening to our youth. Instead of finding innovative ways of empowering them, we are giving them money, handouts, in the pretense of saying we are empowering the youth. But these handouts are not even going to last for years. They only last for one day. I found one in my place when they came, and it was being announced as an empowerment. But when you asked the border guys what they got, it was only 200 shillings. Somebody traveling away far from a place of 10 kilometers, but when he comes, he's given 200 shillings. And that, they say, is empowerment. So we are totally getting everything wrong. And for us to achieve the first world, we need to we need to follow our constitution. We got a very nice constitution in 2010. But we don't want to implement it. We want to do other things, and we pretend that we are driving a country. I think it's a total mess.
Yeah. Okay. Wakili, when you also comment on that, let's talk about the strong governance system, based on what he's also talked about, the Constitution of 2010. I mean, when you have got a strong governance system, everything is deliberate and everything is predictable. He's also talked about 20 years in which country?
In Sweden.
In Sweden. But are we deliberate? Even the Vision 2030, we are almost clocking 2030, but are we halfway?
We will check and turn to 2000 or 2050.
Victor,
okay.
If you walk in the streets of capital city, just look at the shops, the malls, you will see that almost 98% of the products that are there are imported. Second-hand, mitumba, you'll find a whole street. Actually, this Nairobi has been turned into a hawking capital city. And we are hawking things that are imported. So 98% we are competing with the election in Tanzania in terms of importation of what is being sold in this capital city. This is just a capital city. So that tells you that our balance of trade is wanting. We are importing more than what we are exporting. That will affect the country's income. That will affect the economy of our country. Secondly, we have also turned politics into the currency of the nation. Politics is literally everything. The statement by the Minister for Education, how the government handled the lecturers' strike 49 days, was all about politics. There are no systems to run our country. It has been turned into politics. It is a currency. How two politicians will wake up, whether you remember, and may God rest Raila's soul in eternal peace, how we will wake up and say there will be no job tomorrow, or how they are going to behave, how the government, the opposition and those in government, how they are going to smile at each other will determine whether our children will go to school or will go to work. So my challenge is, look at our planning system. When you go to Singapore, you cannot wake up and paint your house. You cannot wake up and change the direction of your door. Because, as he said, there is already a plan that has been approved for almost more than 50 years. So it is predictable. They know that this place is going to have houses, and with this plan, there will be water in this and this. But look at our planning. We have grabbed public land. Our planning system is not working. We have very nice plans in the shelves. We have so many theses of our students who have studied and earned degrees. They are attracting dust there. Mtu ako na degree, but that is it. You just have a degree, but there is no innovation that you've brought.
Okay.
See?
What is the DNA? What is so different in the DNA of those countries that Kenya does not have? I know DNAs are so different, but
if I try to interject,
can we transplant DNA?
No. Actually, most of the people even going to work in those countries are our students.
Yes.
They are taking our people.
Labor exploitation.
It's just about a poor system. We don't have system in this country. Look at how we collect our revenue. Money is supposed to go to the consolidated fund. We have a budget, but you see a government running programs that have not been budgeted, and they are consuming billions and billions of shillings. That already tells you that there is no system.
But again, for example, the budget is talking about, for example, the empowerment program, this is not budgeted for, but we're implementing it, for example. Again, if you want to do a road in Kenya, what do? You demolish houses, story houses. You demolish houses, then you do a road. That means that what was happening here, you see, we have this Kenya National Roads Highway, this
Kenha.
Yes, the Kenha things. The plaque is somewhere inside an estate, and you're told this is a road reserve, and people are living there and it is built. You get me right? That's the poor planning I'm talking about. Because again, at the end of the day, if you demolish houses, we are just doing away with capital, because there are people who invested here. How did people end up investing in a road reserve, for example? But again, I think the engineering of our politics is problematic. In a country like, and again, from what I was talking about, the question that we need to ask, if at 63, when we were getting our independence, our GDP was as equal as Korea and Singapore and Malaysia, So where did the rain start beating us? When those guys, we now want to go and benchmark there again.
Were we deliberate at 1963? That's the question.
I think we were deliberate, but we started creating small gods in politicians. And we went the political way. There's a country like Botswana, which has done well in terms of its management, because of not so much, because of stability. They had Iron Kama, then the other Kama, and then it was the change in politics has always been very good. As opposed to ours, where somebody comes who is completely different from the other guy. If you go towards CDF funds, for example, an MP starts doing a school and then he's voted out. Then the new MP does the road, doesn't do this one now. So it's wasted capital. There's no continuity of governance. When the Jubilee government works, they have their policies. But when the UDA one comes, then they have a bottom-up approach. So this bottom-up approach, what about all the projects, all the ideas, all the 2030 vision that we had in place that was supposed to be done? Do we stop them? Yes, we stop them and start this one. So we are always caught. And I always say that the problem with these developing countries is like a relationship between a father and a son. The father moves very fast and they're moving together, but the son loses steps because the father is moving so fast. When we had, like, for example, the mobile phones, you see these guys are doing the mobile phones. Here we were still on those ones. Then we are told that although you put so much money on that project, that is outdated program. So you need to use a mobile phone. So all the time we are putting money into outdated things, and before we finish doing them, before we lay a cable, then we told, no, we can't do cables anymore. It is wireless now. But you know, we've spent so much money in our budget to do cables. Secondly, the thing of budgets. Kanchori, we don't have budgets anywhere here. Whatever a budget is, unless you go train the county assemblies and the governors and the president, what a budget is. A budget is, ukiandika hii, then you go put money on it, then you implement it. That's a budget. But what they do is completely different. So they just do the budget for just the sake of doing it. But they're not interested in doing the budget. Like, for example, the counties, they will work better if there's disaster. They want to spend on disaster. So we're not managing by crisis, that we are waiting for a crisis. If a crisis happens, then we can spend money there. While we are spending money on that crisis, then we steal some.
I think the challenge is corruption. It is corruption. Because as you say, in these other developed countries, they have actually made a deliberate step that it is nation first. And you know, even our constitution is very clear.
The resources you don't even think about corruption.
Yeah, the resources we have is for the present and future generations. And
actually, I don't think if it's corruption for me. I think people just don't know what they're doing.
Let me just interject a little bit. Because when you have a budget, as you say, there is a budget there. It is an itemized budget or whatever. But when you go against that budget, that's corruption actually. And you find again our corruption agencies, my brother was saying here, they are just cosmetic. In those countries, you can't even imagine like China. You know, people, they see this Chinese come here, shao. When you go to China there, then you realize that even if Chinese stop for the next 200 years, we will not catch up with them. They are very serious.
That is so serious.
Yeah, it's very serious. If you are, whether you are a president and you are convicted of corruption, you are gone, and the country proceeds.
What I'm saying, it's just a point. But why I'm saying sometimes I don't even blame it on corruption. People don't just do simple bookkeeping. For example, when I see these governors or these members taken to court because of corruption, they sit there like they don't know what they did. Most of them, they don't know what they're doing. Because when you go, for example, to Mombasa with MCAs, there is people slept in a hotel and their receipts and what have you. When the Auditor General come to check this thing and raise audit queries, these guys didn't just pick receipts from where they slept and brought them back to accounting department, or they bought tires for vehicles and they just record somewhere. For example, in Kiambu, I don't know if that was corruption. When the governor, Ferdinand Waititu, decided to send some money to the wife's account, I don't know, what is that? Is it corruption, or is it just people who are just, is it really, they don't know what they're doing most of the time. They're just completely not aware of these processes and how administrative works things, because when they are caught in corruptions, you realize that they didn't even know what they did. Because, for example, NYS scandal, you remember, when this lady was walking, the hair doer for Waiguru by that time, because she just sent a lot of government money to her hairdresser.
Okay.
You know, these are not really corrupt.
Is there hope?
Hope? No, with these guys who are in, because you see one thing, now, for you to get a position, you just don't need to merit. So long as we'll get to merit, it'll be okay. But so long as we have to, well, after every political time, then you reward the people who shouted Ruto 2 term. Because these guys were shouting 2 term.
Yes.
All these guys were shouting 1 term. When those 1 term and 2 term, any administrator will get into power, we'll just reward these guys who are shouting.
Dr. Is there hope?
Absolutely. We have hope if we go back and ensure that we have a working system.
Yeah.
Let's think of country first. You remember during Kibaki, build Kenya?
Buy Kenya.
Buy Kenya.
Yes.
So that we encourage the local. I saw one guy, I don't know if he was from Turkana, trying to build an aeroplane. Those are the people that needs to be encouraged. And I also want to challenge our dons, our universities, our institutions, so that we don't just produce degree holders, but we need innovators who can come and solve these problems that we have, the tax problem. Remember the president said we don't have enough power. Well, we have a jua inatusumbua huku Kajiado. How can we make use of that sun so that we can power our industries and all that? So we have hope if we organize ourselves, we think country first, and Kenya is here for us and our future generation.
Very good. We have hope?
Yeah, there's hope.
Okay.
Because we have 5 years. After every there's a cycle of elections in every 5 years. And the more we continue electing people, I'm sure one time we'll get the right people to run our country.
Okay.
There's hope.
Very good. If I may add something.
Tumemaliza.
Just one. Mheshimiwa, what happens is that what we are doing, we have given you 1 million Gen Zs, and they're trying. You're now dealing with educated folks, and you can see how educated folks are trying to change things. We're giving you more and more and more. So by 2027, you have a lot of educated folks to help you.
I know how sweet it gets when it's almost over. I know. Thank you so much, gentlemen. The 3 wise men, I call them the 3 wise men. That is Dr. Daniel Kanchori. Asante sana. Kajiado depends on you.
Senator of Kajiado.
Senator, I said that intentionally. Kajiado depends on you. He is an advocate of the High Court and, of course, strategic management expert. Thank you so much, sir, for coming. Oscar Omondi, the gentleman who went to the village and came back completely radicalized. You tell us what you ate there. Oscar Omondi is a university lecturer, political and governance expert. And, of course, Mark Ndingo is also a politician and also a political analyst. Gentlemen, asante sana for coming. There is hope for this country. We can move it from third world economy, as Oscar said, to a first world economy. There is hope. My name is Victor Lo. Good morning.
Ningabatwa na marasmas.
Aje buda, woza marada. Marata iko huko Kisumu ni sule. Sijuanga watu type hii design pia usikia njaa. Nina stuka wewe. Aya. Unajua for real I'm shocked. Inama. Kucha enda vizuri.
Karibu Kasto.
Kwani leo umeleta buffet?
Chuweke nyama sefil.
Wewe sijui unaitwa mama nani, sijui mama nje.
Kuna vyombo ulinipatia?
Mukaka tafadhali utachapa mama ya wenyewe nikiwa hapa. Wacha niando hii kesi.
Dr. Chung, say it after me. Nina Kupenda.
Nakupenda, 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 wee wee.
Nakupenda. Come on, sit down.
You know how the plan for that came into being? 90 times our team was denied. More than 90 times. 3 of us were fired.
Please don't think too much of it. Yaya might have thought, since you found true love, you probably need some time and space to enjoy it all.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Good Morning Show continues this morning, and the segment on air right now is the Western Spectrum. And today, the 10th of November, 2025, we want to look at some of the strategies that the government is employing in terms of rolling out the development agenda. Remember, this agenda is christened the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. As you know, that is supporting those that are at the bottom of the pyramid to bring them up. And also, this is we are talking about agricultural aspect of the agenda. And this morning specifically, we're going to focus on supporting the rice value chain. Remember, Kisumu and generally the western part of Kenya, rice production also does well apart from cane production, and specifically in Kisumu, apart from the fishing that is now almost certain for everyone. Rice production is also big, and quite a number of locals here engage in that practice. If you underwent the 844 curriculum, you must have learned about the Ahero irrigation scheme, and that is just one of the many irrigation schemes in Western Kenya. We have the Migori Kuria irrigation scheme and also another scheme in Homa Bay. And just in what way can the government come through for these farmers to ensure that production is enhanced? Before we get to that conversation with my guest that is already here with me, let me just run you through some statistics to set base for our conversation this morning. Kenya, in terms of rice production versus consumption, Kenya produces in the region of between 300 and 400,000 metric tons annually. That is in terms of rice production, but that is against of about 1 million metric tons in terms of consumption. You can just imagine the difference that is left, and now government has to spend billions of shillings to plug that deficit. But what are some of the strategies can the government employ to motivate or the increased production and minimize importation? That is what we're going to discuss with my guest this morning, the Managing Director of the Lake Basin Development Authority, CPA Wycliffe Ochiaga, who is already with me here. Good morning, Good
morning, and how are you?
I'm very fine, thank you. And thank you for making time for us this morning, as even as we want to talk about the supporting rice value chain. We know that LBDA is one of the 6 regional development agencies that support roll out the government development agenda. Just in 2 minutes, run us through the mandate of the LBDA as one of the regional development agencies, just in 2 minutes.
Thank you very much. My name is Wycliffe Ochiaga, and I am the Managing Director of Lake Basin Development Authority. And thank you very much for hosting me here today as we discuss this important segment in rice value chain. Now, Lake Basin Development Authority, just as you have mentioned, is one of the regional development agencies under the Ministry of East African Community Affairs, Arid and Semi-Arid Lands, and Regional Development. And our greatest mandate is to spur the economic growth within the Lake Victoria catchment area. And that is why we come up with a number of programs that then can spur the socio-economic growth within the Lake Victoria catchment area. And one of the value chains of the programs that we are undertaking is in rice value chain. And we are implementing this in the entire western region, covering Kisumu County, Homa Bay County, Migori County, Siaya, Busia, and part of Nandi and Kericho counties, where rice is being grown. We are here today to discuss on what is it that, as a government agency, we are able to do to ensure that we enhance production of rice locally and try to reduce the importation so that we have circulate within the economy.
We know that there's some of the challenges that bedevil these rice farmers. One of them, apart from the rising cost of production that actually they continue lamenting about, there's also the marketing bit of it. The production, the produce that they get after harvesting. There's no proper market pathway to offset their produce, and that means they have to sell it majorly to the middlemen from Uganda, and they're citing exploitation by these agents. LBDA, I know there is a milling plant that has now been established at Kibos. Tell us briefly about this. What is the capacity and what is the motivation towards it?
Thank you very much. The milling plant we have in Kisumu is one of the modest milling plants within the Western Kenya region. And this by His Excellency the President in the year 2024, in August last year. And it is part of the interventions that the government has put in place to ensure that we support the rice farming. Now, the capacity of that milling plant is between 3 tons to 4 tons per hour. And that then speaks to what we are able to mop up in terms of paddy rice within the region that we operate in. Now, away from milling, we are looking into both the market and what is it beyond the market. So for milling purposes, we are offering or availing the market for raw materials to our farmers. But again, we have invested so much in training of the farmers in terms of the modern techniques of farming. We are investing on expanding our irrigation infrastructure so that we have a lot of land put under irrigation. But again, another challenge that farmers have experienced is in terms of what we call drying floor. And drying floor means that when they harvest, where do they air their raw materials so that they gain the required moisture content. So again, at Lake Basin Mall or at Lake Basin Mill, we have a drying floor of around 1 acre. So we offer this floor to our farmers free of charge, and then after they have gained the moisture that is required, we buy from them.
Yeah. Given the cost of production that the rice farmers have to incur in producing this paddy rice, they also expect to make good returns, and that means they need to get paid well in terms of the kg of paddy rice that they supply to the LBDA. Tell us the payment, how much do they get and on what basis?
Our payments are very different, and it depends on the market prices. That is one. And then number two, it also depends on the quality of raw materials that we get. That is the quality of paddy. And the quality of paddy is determined by the grain, the length of the grain. It's also determined by the moisture content of that particular paddy. And so the lower the moisture content, the higher the value of the raw materials. And then the longer the grain, also the higher the value. And then number two, we continuously engage the farmer cooperatives as we determine the prices. So that the price that we give to farmers is that makes sense to them in terms of business that they make. Averagely, we are doing between 55 shillings to 65 shillings per kg of paddy rice, and then our payments are prompt. We ensure that we pay promptly so that there is good circulation of money within the economy.
We just hold the chain right there, because the pictures that you're currently seeing on our screens, those are pictures of farmers partaking in this particular practice, and actually that is a farmer that is spraying on their farms, actually to just minimize the losses that result from pest infections. And remember, Kisumu is a region, not just Kisumu, there's also the challenge of destructive birds. We call them the queller birds, and this is a challenge that has bedeviled rice farmers for the longest time. But then now the county government and the national government alike are coming up with strategies actually to alleviate this challenge. Remember, agriculture is devolved, and so the county government also has to play a role in terms of improving the welfare of the farmers here. Talking about offsetting the paddy rice that is produced in Kisumu, we know that the Kisumu County government has also installed, or are in the process of installing a milling plant at the Ahero irrigation scheme. This is a plant that has the capacity to produce 2.5 tons per hour, and when that process is finally complete, actually the rice farmers in the region, talk of Ahero, talk of the West Kano, will have a place to take their rice, and also that means they can only get more returns from the practice. At the moment, some of the rice farmers are almost deviating from this practice because of the high cost of production that I've already mentioned, and also talk about the destructive birds that remain the biggest challenge. Remember, before we came on air yesterday, I spoke to a representative, or rather a leader of an association of rice farmers in Ahero, and one of the challenges he mentioned is that they're losing up to 30% of their produce to the destructive birds, and that means the government, both the national and the county, like I've mentioned, need to devise strategies to alleviate this challenge. Well, we continue with the conversation this morning with the LBDA Managing Director, Weekly for Sugar, and just like before I mentioned I explained some of the pictures on our screen, you are talking about the pricing that you pay to the rice farmers or rather the farmers that supply you with rice. Just briefly repeat some of the determinant factors on what determines what price is paid to the suppliers.
Thank you very much. And what we have said is that our prices are very competitive and also very considerate. And we arrive at the price based on the market forces. Of course, that is the first model that we use. And then number two is on the quality of the paddy rice that we get from farmers. And in terms of quality, the quality is assessed in terms of the moisture content of the paddy, and also in terms of the length of the grain of the paddy. Now, the longer the grain, the higher the value. And then the lower the moisture content, the higher the value. But even with that, we are alive to the fact that there are other things to be considered away from the two that I have mentioned. And that is why we also engage the farmer cooperative leaderships, so that we get to understand other factors that are not known to us, so that as we pay farmers, we give prices that are competitive and that makes meaning to them in terms of business.
This price range is between?
And then we have the prices between now 55 shillings to 65 shillings, depending on those factors that I've highlighted.
And like I mentioned, I spoke to one of the leaders of those cooperatives in Ahero, and he mentioned that the Ugandan factories that are buying their rice pays up to, at the moment they're paying 57 shillings, but then they still believe this is a low price given the amount of money they have to spend in producing this paddy rice. How do you work with the cooperatives to ensure that, do you have the capacity to mop up the entire rice that is produced at Ahero and West Kano?
What we are doing at the moment is that away from our milling plant, that of course has a good capacity, that is between 3 tons to 4.5 tons, we are also trying to build capacity of the local millers, the small millers, so that it doesn't appear that with the existence of a government miller, then we kill the other millers around. So we have taken them through the quality checks to ensure that whatever they mill meets the standard, and the standards are set by KBC. So that is how we absorb the excess supply that we receive from farmers. Now, again, what we are doing as a government is to try and adopt technology when it comes to farming, so that the cost of production is reduced. And when the cost of production is reduced, then even the 57 shillings they are saying is low will make sense. Now, the images that you have seen there, you have seen a gentleman doing manual land preparation. You've seen a gentleman spraying manually, and also scaring of birds manually. And then what the government is now doing is to try to automate all these processes, so that mechanization of agriculture, so that we have the rotavators, we have the loaders, and we have the drones that can spray fertilizer and can also scare birds. So when this is properly adopted, the cost of production will definitely reduce and the income will go higher.
This milling plant at Kibos by LBDA that has the capacity to process in between 3 and 4 metric tons per hour. What are the ways, in which other ways does it benefit the farmers? Because we know, apart from processing it, there are, apart from refining the paddy rice into the fine rice that can now be consumed, there are other byproducts that emanate in the process.
Now we are looking at the entire value chain when it comes to rice value chain. And it doesn't end at the milled rice. We have a whole chain of byproducts. And the first one is, of course, the broken rice that cannot be graded. Number 2, we have the rice brands. Number 3, we have the husks. Now, all these can then be inputs or raw materials to other products. So we are using this to come up with the chicken feeds, to come up with the livestock feeds, to come up with the briquettes. Now, briquettes then conserves environment, because then we are trying to reduce the firewood, the charcoal, and everything. And then we are also keen into educating the farmers that even as you do rice farming, you can also alternate with other farming activities. And we have tried to encourage the livestock farming. We are encouraging them to rear the chicken, so that as they wait to harvest, they still have other sources of income. And of course, at the plant, we have employed quite a number of youths. More than 100 youths are employed on a day-to-day basis. So it is also a source of employment to the community around. Yeah.
And now, the byproducts that are produced, we know those products you've talked about, do they benefit the farmers at the end of the day? Or once they supply the paddy rice to the farm, to the plant, now every other benefit is owned and by LBDA specifically?
Definitely supports, because as a government agency, whatever products that we avail to the market, we avail them at affordable rates. So when we do fertilizers, they come out at affordable rates. When we do chicken feeds, they come out at affordable rates. When we do livestock feeds, they come out at affordable rates. So this also is a way of supporting them in terms of the cost that they incur to procure these particular raw materials in other value chains. Yeah.
I don't know how are the rice farmers aware of the plant at Kibos, because as I spoke to one Mr. Josh, is the chair of the Ahero irrigation scheme that is bringing quite a number of rice farmers in that area. He said at the moment they're still selling that produce to Uganda. Are they aware about this, about the presence of the milling plant at Kibos?
We've just been 1 year into production, and what we have been able to do is to invest on sensitization. So we've done a lot of farmer sensitization. We are engaging with the other stakeholders, with the county government, with the private sector players, to ensure that the information is outside there. Now, in the last 2 weeks, we've had a lot of engagements with the farmers in Kisumu. We've had a lot of engagements with the farmers in Homa Bay and Migori, and we continue to engage so that we sensitize them on the availability of market of their products and also a competitive market. So it is something we continue to do, and the feedback is very good. We have seen a lot of farmers now delivering their paddy rice. We have received a number of calls for those who are unable to deliver so that we go and collect. And we have also seen people developing interest in rice farming, and that has even led us into doing some surveys in terms of how can we expand the irrigation infrastructure. Yeah.
From where you sit, you've been in operation. That plant has been in operation for the past 1 year. What is your assessment? Has it improved the welfare of the farmers around?
Definitely, yes. Because looking at the prices that we pay, they are a bit higher than what other middlemen pay. And then number two, we are also training these farmers on the modern techniques in farming, the climate smart farming. So away from just buying from them, we are also building their capacity. So for the last 1 year, we have been able to do this, and I'm sure the effects are all, of course, there. And even in terms of traders, today when you walk around Kisumu, it is the LBD rice that is being sold within the Kisumu and its environs. And what does that mean? What it means is that we are supporting traders, and we are even giving them credit facilities so that they pay after they have sold. So this has made business easy for them, and I'm sure it has improved the welfare of the people around Lake Basin region.
Right. What more do you think can be done? Because I'm sure you have assessed this entire value chain, right from the cost of producing it all the way to offsetting it through the milling plants. And specifically, like I mentioned, they're still selling to Uganda. What more do you think can be done either by the government through LBDA or any other agencies to ensure that the rice that is produced locally here is still processed locally, so that the middlemen from the Ugandan milling factories do not exploit these rice farmers?
One thing that the government is doing is expanding the irrigation infrastructure so that we have a lot of land put under production. And this is going to almost double the production capacity locally. Now, the second thing that we are doing is to partner and collaborate with the private sector. We have those who have the milling machines around as well. We have those who want to venture into the rice value chain in terms of the milling. So we encourage everybody so that we do not dominate the market. So what we are doing is that the few who have expressed interest, we take them through the process to assess the quality of what they can produce, to train them, so that the quality that we produce as Lake Basin is similar to quality that is produced by the millers around. Now, another thing that we are doing so that we enhance the production around is doing a lot of research with other government agencies in terms of the seeds that are more resilient around here and the ones that can give proper yield. And that is why we encourage our farmers to get certified seeds, not seeds that have been used over and over, that then even the yield is compromised. So those are some of the interventions that the government is putting in place, and we hope that this will change the whole ecosystem in rice value chain.
You talk about certified seeds and the high quality seeds. But then let's assume I'm a budding farmer and I'm interested in engaging in rice farming, but then I don't know how the steps to take in terms of getting the right seeds. Where do we get the right seeds here in Kisumu specifically?
Now, in Kisumu we have Calro shops that have these seeds. But again, farmers who reach out to us directly, we are able to help them procure. And we are also into some partnerships with other private sector players who support the entire cycle of farming. So they are able to come in to help in land preparation. They're able to come in to help with seeds. They're able to come in to help in harvesting. And when you harvest, then they recover. So even as we wait for what the government should do in terms of financing the farmers, we also have private sector players who are ready to finance farmers, and we can also connect the farmers to these private players. So we encourage all the farmers to reach out to those who have the land that is enough asset. So other things you can be supported so that you achieve your intended objectives.
It's even better that you brought out the financing aspect, because apart from the destructive birds, the exploitation by the middlemen, and there's also the challenge of getting enough capital actually to produce, for the farmers to produce more rice. As LBDA, do you support these farmers by maybe getting them also? Do you have a kitty that they can borrow from, and also so that they can expand their production?
We don't have a kitty per se, but we have brought in private players, private sector that we have partnered with, and they are able to provide financing. Maybe in another forum, we will be able to have an engagement where we have all the private sector players that we work with who finance and also support in the entire value chain. So it is working, and it has made work easy for farmers. What you do is just to avail land, and then everything is done for you, and you still make your money. So instead of incurring a lot of cost, which our farmers do not have in terms of capital, we have made it easier for them to access this financing. We have negotiated, and the rates are better, and they are still able to get return on investment. Yeah.
We know actually the president has been big in terms of persistently mentioning or rather encouraging private-public partnership in ensuring that Kenyans are supported in whatever thing they engage in. But that now brings me to the aspect of, you see, these farmers, they need constant capacity building, and that happens through extension officers that are sent out to the field by the county government, given that the fact that agriculture is devolved rather. So as LBDA, is there a group of extension officers that you work with to improve the welfare or rather the technical knowledge of these farmers in terms of rice production?
Yes, and we partner with all the county governments where we operate, but we also have our technical staff who are able to work together with the extension officers from the county government. But we are also alive to the fact that we can never have enough staff because of the vast region that we cover. And currently we are working on the models. We want to make use of the AIs, the artificial intelligence, and come up with the tools that can project the weather patterns, can project the yield, can project the duration that farmers should have before they harvest. So even as we use our technical staff and also the county government officers, we are moving towards adopting technology so that we make it easier and we make access easier for all farmers in terms of the knowledge that they require and the support that they require. Yeah.
As we began this, I talked about the production versus consumption. It's about 30-70 or even 40-60. Kenya produces less than it consumes, and that means the country still spends billions of shillings importing to plug the deficit. How can which other ways can the government adopt, both national and the county government, which other strategies they can adopt to mobilize production, motivate the rice farmers, and also bring in more, or rather encourage more farmers to engage in rice farming so that that production goes up to minimize imports?
The advantage we have in Kenya is land. So we have, I would say, enough land to do agriculture, both in arid lands and semi-arid lands and in the whole country. And where we are moving to, we already have seeds that are grown on rain-fed, so that you don't have to do irrigation. They don't need a lot of water. So this means that even in our ASAL areas, we have varieties that can grow. So that is an advantage we have, that the government keeps investing over and over. In the last 1 year or so, you'll realize that His Excellency the President has invested so much in doing the irrigation canals, be it in this region, be it in Mwea, and in all other parts of the country, be it in Kuja, Migori. And what this has done is to increase the land under production. So in terms of what we can do is to increase the land under production by leveraging the infrastructure that we have, and also by expanding the infrastructure that we have. Now, we've talked about variety of seeds, those that can survive on rain-fed, and those that would need sufficient water in terms of, irrigation. But most important thing is to mechanize our production, because that is where we incur a lot of costs. I think at the moment per acre, farmers incur around 70,000, and then they get 70,000 as profit. Now, when we mechanize, we've done the workings, and this 70,000 in terms of cost of production can be reduced by half. So that in itself will motivate more farmers to get into rice farming. Again, what has been done in the sugar sector is what we would also want to do in rice value chain sector in terms of bonuses. Because what then would motivate farmers into venturing into rice farming, for me, is away from what we have discussed, is also the bonuses. And how do we get the bonuses? I've just indicated that we have other byproducts that then serve as inputs to other products. Now, if as Lake Basin we bought paddy, and we have milled paddy and gotten graded rice, we have the byproduct now that we have not bought, and we are using this one to do the chicken feeds, to do the livestock feeds, to do the, the fertilizer, to do the briquettes. Then this also should make meaning or sense to farmers. So it is a model we are coming up with so that it doesn't end at the middle rice, but it goes beyond, and farmers also get value for those other processes. And that is how the bonuses will come up. So it is something we are working on. I'm sure in 1 or 2 years the model will be proper, and our rice farmers will begin earning bonuses. Yeah.
He's talked about the partnership between LBDA and other private players to support these farmers by actually giving them access to capital and other financing to inject into rice farming. I'm wondering, in the region, are there other government agencies that you are working with in support of the rice farmers in the region?
Yes. Basin Development Authority, we have national that provide irrigation infrastructure. Actually, the Ahero irrigation scheme, the infrastructure there was developed by the National Irrigation Authority. Now, if you go to Kuja, Migori, the infrastructure there is by NIA. If you go to Busia, as well, NIA. Lake Basin has done Kimira Oluch in Homa Bay, but again, we are coming up to do West Kano irrigation scheme to open up infrastructure. So it is a multi-agency approach to ensure that we achieve the same goal by combining efforts between the government agencies and also the county government. Yeah.
All right. Apart from that partnership, what are some, in terms of improving the welfare of the rice farmers, what are the pipeline projects that they can expect?
The irrigation infrastructure are coming up, and that will be of great impact to the farmers. We are also trying to, or we are working on organizing farmers into cooperatives, yeah, so that even the private sector who wants to come in to support the entire value chain works within some structures. So we are in the process of organizing them into cooperatives, and this also ensures that even in terms of financing, the financing entities can then deal with the cooperatives. They have had issues on governance, but those ones are being resolved so that we have properly constituted farmer cooperatives. We are already doing farmer education, but we want to intensify these so that we properly train our farmers, we properly educate them and enlighten them. We will continue to engage farmers in the future and also to pick up ideas on how best they feel rice farming can be done, and then we put together with what we think should be done with a view of increasing the local production. So those are some of the things that we have in the pipeline that are coming up that would be beneficial to farmers within the region. Yeah.
The LPDA rice milling plant in Kibos has been in operation for just over a year, like you mentioned, and that means this has given it an impetus or a perspective of what rice production in the region entails. What do you feel? What do you, from your assessment, what do you see as the future of rice farming in Kisumu and the region?
Very positive growth in terms of rice farming, because the challenges that were there before, we are trying to address them. We are trying to mechanize, we are trying to sensitize farmers, we are trying to avail market to farmers, and also just to expand our farms, because at the moment, looking at Kisumu alone, we still have more than 20,000 acres that can be put under production. You go to Homa Bay, almost the same. You go to Migori, you go to Siaya. So within the region, we can talk about close to 100,000 acres that should be put under production. But with the government coming into place, plus with the programs that I've mentioned that the government has, even in terms of the bonuses, I want to believe that rice farming will be as lucrative as other farming activities. Yeah.
And that means new rice farmers can always be mobilized to enhance production.
Yes.
Okay. And rice production, actually, it is also a mainstay in regions like Ahero, in places like Kano. But then again, the aspect of the challenge of queller birds that I've mentioned, in your view, how can it be addressed?
Because our farmers do manual bird scaring, which is it takes a lot of time, a lot of energy. It could be expensive because in a 1 acre farm you want to have like 20 or 30 people scare birds. And for me, technology would come in handy into this, and we could adopt drones to try and do the bird scaring, to try and do the spraying, and so that we reduce the manual labor in terms of the whole process of rice farming. It is a challenge that with the technology we can address, but again, I would be interested in looking at what researchers have in terms of can we have a variety that does not attract the birds. So it is an area that we want to leave out again for researchers to try and see how best this can be done, whether we can have varieties come up that are not attractive to birds, but then we still achieve the same aroma that we get at the moment.
I want to know the connection that you have with the Kisumu County government, because I know they have a milling plant that they are in the process of establishing at the Ahero irrigation scheme, like mentioned earlier. But it has taken them quite some time to get this rolling. What connection do you, because I know you work hand in hand with them, what aspects do they pump into the rice value chain, and how do you come together in improving the welfare of the rice farmers?
Yeah, it is true that that milling plant has not been operationalized, but once it is operationalized, similar way to how we work with other millers, we will still work together with the county government, because with all the investments that we are putting in place, production is going to be massive. And Lake Basin alone will not be able to absorb the entire production, even put together with other millers. So county government will also come in to help mop up the paddy rice, and also just to reduce the exploitation that our farmers face with the middlemen that come, because the capacity of the milling plants around does not satisfy the production. So they will come in to support production, they will come in to avail the market. Plus again, county governments also have extension officers. They have allocations for fertilizers, they have allocations for farmer sensitization. So similar to what we do, we will just put together our efforts so that at the end of the day, it is the farmers who benefit. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. I'm sitting here wondering, because LBDA is a regional development agency, and development comes in various ways. Rice value chain is just one of them, and we have a lot of other activities that LBDA engages in. So I'm wondering, how do you draw the balance to ensure that, in as much as there are other activities that you engage in, like drilling out boreholes, sinking boreholes in support of the locals in terms of access to clean water, where do you draw the balance to ensure that there are enough resources that are channeled to growing the welfare of the rice farmers in the region?
Yes, so what happens is that, number one, as we mill, we generate income. And as a government agency, the reason why we generate income is to plow it back to the economy. So away from what we get from development partners, away from what we get from the national government in terms of exchequer releases, what we generate also is plowed back to the farming activities. So that is how we are able to support the farming around. We do not just rely on national government support. We rely on both national government support, development partners, our collaboration with the county governments, and also what we are able to generate that we then plow back into the farming activities. Yeah.
The milling plant has been in operation for a year now. Could you just tell us how much it generates and how this supports the government in its development agenda?
In the last 12 months, we have milled around 3,700 tons. That is an income of between 200 million to 250 million. Now, number one, this is a lot of money in the economy because it is a revolving fund. So it means that for the last 1 year, we have pumped more than 200 million in this economy in terms of what we buy, in terms of job creation, in terms of any support. So that 200 million has circulated in the entire economy. So as it circulates in the entire economy, then it supports the 4 pillars of the better agenda. Our farmers are able to access the health care. They are able to support their children go to school. People are able to do business, economic developments, and we are talking about technology adoption. So even the pillar on technology, we are coming in strongly to support. So that is the multiplier effect of that mill within this ecosystem. So
this income generated from milling is not just focused on the rice value chain alone. It is spread through to other aspects as well.
Yeah.
Going forward, what do you tell the farmers in the region? What should they expect from LBD in terms of improving their welfare?
I assure farmers that we are here to support farming. We are here to improve farming. and we will stand with the farmers from farm to market. So we are there to support.
I'm wondering, because there are different schemes like we mentioned. We have a scheme in Kisumu, just not more than one. We have a scheme in Homa Bay. There is another in Migori, and you've also spoken about another in Busia. How many according to your records, how many farmers are you working with from the cooperatives?
Now, the farmers we deal with are smallholder farmers. And smallholder farmers are farmers that have between 2 to 3 acres, just an average of between 2 to 3 acres per farmer. So definitely there are thousands and thousands of farmers, considering the acreage of land that is under production. So many farmers, so many households that are benefiting from this program. Yeah.
Locally, coming back to the region, I already mentioned to you my conversation with Mr. Josh. Josh is the chair of a cooperative in Ahero, and he mentioned that exploitation is an issue that they are still grappling with, and the exploiters actually are agents of milling factories in Uganda. How can they be shut out entirely?
You know, Kenya is just one of the countries in East African community, and I know there are guidelines to guide how Kenya relates with Uganda, Tanzania, plus other East African communities. And we have done a number of proposals. Of course, we don't want to be very rigid that we do not allow, our East African community countries, to do with us business, because even as there are products we get from the EAC community. But I'm looking at it in a broader picture, in a way that we give reason to farmers to sell to government. And we are working on supporting farmers in the entire process of farming, from land preparation to everything to harvesting, so that when they have that support from government, then they have the reason to support the government in terms of supply. Now, we are also working on other benefits that comes with the rice farming. I'd mentioned about the model on the bonuses. So with this particular model, they will have no reason to sell outside the country. They would rather sell within, and then at the end of the year, they earn their bonuses. So these are some of the incentives that we are putting in place to ensure that farmers have reason. We don't want to adopt a model where it is a push and pull between Kenya and other EAC communities. But we want to motivate our farmers and make them have a reason to work with the government. Yeah.
Agriculture is devolved, just like I mentioned. What message do you have for to the county governments in the counties where the rice farmers are majorly dominant?
Now, the message to the county governments, who are also our stakeholders, is that we are here to work together. It is a joint effort. As Lake Basin, we cannot achieve it alone. As county governments, I know they can't achieve it alone. There is strength in working together. So as LBDA, we are there to work together with the county governments. There are those that we have signed MOUs with. There are those that we are working on MOUs, so that we put together our resources and support agriculture. Yeah.
Even as we move towards the end of this conversation, you may want to look into that camera and let the farmers be aware that there is a milling plant established by the government in Kibos, and this milling plant is there for them.
Yes. Farmers within the region that we have Lake Basin milling plant in Kisumu to support the farmers within the region. In Kisumu County, in Siaya County, Homa Bay County, Busia, part of Nandi, part of Kericho. And we are there to support not only in milling, we are also there to support in terms of other value chain activities. We are there to support mechanization and land preparation. We are there to support, provide certified seeds. We are there to train, to capacity build, and just support farming. And I want to encourage everybody that you feel free to visit Lake Basin Development Authority. We have our social media handles, please follow. We have our website. If you have a message to drop there, you can drop. And our feedback mechanism is normally very effective and efficient and real time. We'll be able to read through and we will respond and give solutions where our guidance are needed. Yeah.
Tell them the location of this plant.
The plant is located in Kisumu County. We're in Kisumu, Kisumu, Kondele, Kibos Road. So that is where the mill is located. Yeah.
Does it operate each and every day, and so that the farmers can also just work in there?
7 days a week, and we run shifts, 2 shifts up to around midnight, so that we absorb as much as possible from our farmers. Yeah.
And one critical matter that I also want you to talk about, even as we wind up, is the calling upon the private sector to come through and join hands with you in terms of improving the welfare of these rice farmers. Speak a message to the private sector.
Private players who provide financing, we are private players who provide seeds, we are private players who provide equipment for land preparation. I want to call upon all of them so that we can do a tripartite agreement, and we are there to support you in terms of recovering your investments, because as a government agency we will ensure that all your investments are secure, and as LBDA, as farmers sell to us, then we are also able to help you recover all your investments. So we are here to guarantee your investments, and feel free to join us in this journey of agriculture and just enhancing rice production within the country. Yeah.
Lastly, there's a question that I must be forgetting, but then in terms of when the farmers supply paddy rice to LBDA milling plant in Kibos, are they paid instantly, or they have to wait also as in the case of other value chains in the agricultural sector?
Because we mill and sell, so it is cash that is available. So the farmers supply is only that you cannot get it the same day, but within 1 or 2 days you get your money paid to you in whichever model that you advise. There are those who get through M-Pesa, there are those who get through banks. What we don't do is to pay through cash. Yeah.
So there is the LBDA branded rice in the local stores?
Yes. We trade as premium rice, and we are in the supermarkets, we are in institutions, we are in the market, and we continue to collaborate with other players so that we have our brand expand beyond Western Kenya region. Yeah.
Maybe you speak a message to those people that may be looking to venture into rice farming. What should they expect? Is it profitable?
Yes, it is. Like any other business, you must work hard. Yeah, and you must take your time, and you must understand the environment. So those who want to venture into the rice farming, take your time, seek for more clarity around it. It is a lucrative business because investing and getting a return of, it is 100%, because I had indicated that per acre you invest around 70,000 shillings and then you sell at around 150, 160. It is 100% return on investment, but it is involving. That is what I have to tell those who want to venture into rice farming. It is involving, and you have to give it your best. Yeah.
See that when you say that some people might be discouraged, and you see this region is known for fishing actually, but now the fishing sector is not doing very well because wild fishing is being phased out, and people are now embracing aquaculture as the new frontier. But then that means there is need for a shift from just fishing to farming, because you see the youth specifically, they're not so big in terms of of farming. Maybe you speak a message to the youth as a way to alleviate, also rather address unemployment among the youth.
Farming is like any other employment, and we have trainings on agriculture in our learning institutions. And what it means that if you train as an agricultural officer, then you don't expect to work in the office. You expect to work in the farm. So like any other employer, or like any other job that would do, blue-collar job, as it is called, is a major employer at the moment in the country, because looking at the number of youths that are employed in the farms, it is amazing. And I want to encourage our youths that let us venture into farming. Let us use the knowledge that we have acquired in our learning institutions. Let us use the tech knowledge that we have to better the farming activities. So moving forward, we are relying so much on the youths to do agriculture because of the knowledge that they have acquired, because of their ability to come up with the models that can make it easier for farming activities. So I encourage all the youths that there is an opportunity to be employed, there is an opportunity to make money. The government last week just gave disbursed Nyota funds, and they can organize themselves into groups and make good use of these resources that government is investing in our youths.
Still on that plant, apart from milling the paddy rice supplied to you by the farmers and also creating employment opportunities to the locals, does it offer training probably to the graduates that may still need some technical knowledge in preparation for the job market?
Yes. Training opportunities there. We have students coming there on attachment, on internship, even just in terms of plant operation. We have engineers who are doing plant options. They come there, they get knowledge on how to run the machine, on how to repair, how to service. Plus, those who are in agriculture also, they join our extension officers to have engagements with the farmers. Those who are in ICT, we are coming up with the models, making use of AI. So we give internship and trainings in all cadre of trainings that we have our learners go through in higher learning institutions.
And how can they access these opportunities? Do they have is there a fee they pay, and for how long does the internships run?
Coordinated by the Public Service Commission. So over time or periodically, we have the Public Service Commission put up the adverts for internships. Now, of course, for internships, government pays some stipend. Now, we have attachments where we are also partnering with the learning institutions around that then bring their students as part of their courses. So we are working with the Public Service Commission, we are working with the learning institutions, but we also have students, or we also have individuals who make their personal efforts just to apply for these opportunities. So we have offered these opportunities to everybody, and we are glad. I know one day you will get to meet people in this field. You'll be able to appreciate that a number of them went through LBDA in terms of gaining experience in rice value chain, in aquaculture value chain, in livestock value chain. So we give a lot of training opportunities to our learners.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Many thanks to you, CPA Wycliffe Ochiaga, the Managing Director of the Lake Basin Development Authority. Even as we talk about the bottom-up economic transformation agenda rollout through the rice value chain as part of the agricultural pillar, and I believe the farmers in the region have learned one or two things about the milling plant at Kibos and how can they benefit from this installation. That is why we put a cap on today's discussion on the Western Spectrum segment as part of the GMK show, but then still locked on KBC because coming up is a health check with my colleague Vivian Dego. But then I have to extend my appreciation to the production team led by Mohika in Nairobi, and also the guys behind the lens here. We have Martin Kivuti and Simon Yamatik on the other side. But then again, I also have to say thank you to the management of Mirage Palace for continually allowing us access to have these informative discussions right within their premises. Like I mentioned, coming up is the family check with my colleague Vivian Dego. But before that, let us take a short break right now.
Ningapatwa na marasmus.
Aje buda, woza marada.
Marata iko huko Kisumu ni sule.
Sijajuanga watu type hii design pia usikia njaa.
Nina stuka wewe.
Aya. Ojo, for real, I'm shocked.
Inama. Kucha, enda vizuri.
Karibu kasto.
Kwani leo umeleta buffet?
Chuweke nyama sefil.
Wewe sijui unaitwa mama nani, sijui mama nje.
Kuna vyombo ulinipatia?
Mukaka tafadhali, utachapa mama ya wenyewe nikiwa hapa. Wacha niando hii kesi.
Shh, shut up. Don't you even dare mention it to them.
I knew very well that this urgency to come to work here in Puebla has something to do with a woman. How can you do something like this to Daniela?
I was in the midst of the fire, flames and smoke. All I could think about was you.
Anyway, I'm very flattered. Because even if I'm an older married woman to you, you think that there is still someone who is attracted to me. Thank you.
And we are back. And we are back. Thank you for staying with us. Remember, you can get to talk to us. Our number is 0716-103-301. 0716-103-301. I would love to get to hear from you. What are you planning to do with your child during these long holidays? Kuna mambo ambayo umempangia, you know, have you taken them up country? Are there activities that you're engaging them with? Just talk to us. Let us get to know how you're planning to go about it. Maybe another parent may borrow a thing or two from what you are doing or planning to do. Back to you, Anthony. Rajo, you were talking about the fact that sometimes our parents are not okay, they say you're not supposed to be it's not a must for you to be your child's friend, but at least be friendly.
Exactly.
You know, in that your child can be able to talk to you. If there's a matter that is disturbing them, if there's one thing or the other, they can be able to talk to you.
Yes.
And that is what you were commenting on, just telling parents, be there for your child, like allow your child to be able to speak to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
There needs to be a balance between, you know, being disciplined and also allowing them to express how they feel to you. Don't create that wall or that gap, because you see, for children, the moment this child sees that there is a block or there is a wall that has been created from them to the parent, then now they tend to express how they feel through other methods which is common right now yenye wanafanya ni porn. Unapata mtoto ako kwa simu. You see, that another dangerous thing is most parents wanaona ni vizuri kuachia mtoto simu ndio pia hao wakuwe na that time. Well, it's okay to have your personal time as a parent, but also what are these kids doing on their phone? Because most of the time unapata mtoto amefungua Telegram, unapata mtoto ako, you know, ana watch some very weird and bad stuff that inafanya moral zake zikuwe mbaya sana. So as much as you also need to maybe kama ni kidogo wapatie simu, let them also engage or watch things that are helping them. Ndio wasikue wana engage na vitu zingine kwa simu, alafu later on who will they blame? They will only blame you, because watasema mama yangu baba yangu alikuwa tu ameniachia simu, ananiachia tu TV. I can do all I want. So they never check, they never ask, they never check on me, they never allow me express. There is that gap. Apart from even whatever the phone, their kids will engage in other sexual activities. Napata mtoto wa miaka 13 years, 12 years engaging in a sexual activity. Then in the process you find that umeambiwa mtoto wa neighbor ameimpregnate a 13-year-old na kijana ako 14, msichana ako 13. So you see now that's issues of teenage pregnancy at a very young age. So it's a wake-up call to parents. It's a wake-up call that as much as hii time yote wako holiday for the two months plus and all that, have that time to also engage with them. Not only usiwaache tu ati wa engage kwa simu na waende wanacheza. There should be a balance. You see, for a family setup, during this time I believe every family has a structure. And in every structure there is a routine. So isikue hata pia when it comes to the meal, waking up time, meal time, and also time ya kulala. Isikue mtoto wako umemwalao aamke at 11 am ama aamke time anataka, time ya kukula anaweza kula time anataka, time ya kulala anaweza lala time anataka. There should be a routine.
So you're saying that structure is really important, because you know it's something they were used to in school. You know, in school there's structure. You know, you're waking up at this time, even if you're not in boarding school. Unajua kama you're a day scholar, unaamkanga at this particular time. This is the time when you go to the stage, maybe for the school bus, or if you're taking a matatu, or you're being dropped to school. Unafaa kukua shule by this time. This time to this time, there's this lesson that you're having. After this, there's this other. So there's structure in school.
And
you know,
routine.
there's routine. So you're saying it's good to maintain that. Why is that important?
The reason why it's important to maintain a structure and routine is because you see, with that, it also helps this child of yours be able to learn and understand that even in life, there are things that should happen in a certain way, and if you don't do it in this way, these are the dangers of it. Like, structure keeps any family, not only family, but also every system or any kind of organization or system. There should be a structure that, or a routine that is followed. That if you don't do this, if, for example, there is time for doing chores, there's time for studying, there's time for play, and there's time for rest. That should be very clear, and you should set that rule ya nyumba that kama ni time ya kucheza ni hii wakati, kama ni time ya kufanya chores, kama ni time ya kusoma, because hata kama unataka mtoto wako asome na apite, they also need to rest. So don't also be so strict. Ndio ati kila wakati wako kwa kitabu. No, it should be that routine and structure that at this time, if it is waking up, we should wake up as a family and you as the children by 10. Na breakfast, it's served by 10. Ukimiss 10 breakfast, ni shauri yako. Ungoje mpaka lunch. The same thing happens in their schools. Kama ni lunch time wanaendanga kama ni lunch time wanaendanga lunch kitu kama 12 ama 1 p.m. Ukimiss 1 p.m. sinamaanisha wata assume you're not interested in eating. So there should be that structure and set it very clearly so that they can be able to understand. Ndio hata wakimaliza shule, when they complete either primary level or secondary level, when they join campus or college or they do engage in business or stuff like that, they will know for any system to operate and work successfully, there is a routine, there is a structure that has to be there. Isikuwe unamwachilia kwe freestyle. Juu ukimwachilia atafanya vitu zingine and they will engage even in crime, because you see now they have a whole 2 months. There are songs, wimbo ni mingi zinatokea. So hata wimbo zingine zenye wanasikiza, the songs that they're listening to, some of them are not even helping, because some of them are encouraging crime and gang and all that. So it's important as a parent, as much as you also need your personal time, because you see, as a parent, you can't pour from an empty cup. As much as you want your personal time, it's important to also check in with your children. Allow them to also express how they feel. Monitor what they do. Just have that structure and routine. Usiwaachilie na usikuwe too strict. There should be a balance.
There should be a balance.
Yes.
Because pia kuna point unaweza fika mpaka inakuwa sasa hii hata mam sasa wewe ni mtiaji. Kwa sababu tumefunga shule bado unataka nikae in this particular way, you know, unataka mpaka kuniambia nikuwe na timetable bado.
Unajua pia wako na hobbies. You see these children, they have hobbies. They have things they love doing. So get to understand. Unajua kuna wazazi hawajui what their children even love doing. Wana assume wanajua but hawajui. You assume your child loves to sing, but mtoto wako maybe apendi kuimba, because also for adolescents and teenagers or teens, hiyo inaitwaje, creativity na kenye wanapenda huwa zina change at some point. Kuna wakati watapenda kuimba, then at some point wa discover, I can dance. Get to understand like ni nini unapenda kufanya. Kama ni swimming, ndio time nzuri ya kuwa enroll to these swimming clubs. Kama ni dancing, kuna a lot of dance clubs. Wacha waende wa engage. Kama ni mambo na kuimba, just try and help them see kitu wanaweza learn, because you see when it comes to every talent and every hobby, you can even gain something out of it. Hata after high school ama primary wanajipata hata wana make some money out of their talent, because if it is dance, wakianza ku-enroll na these dance groups after high school, they can maybe form their own dance group. If it is singing, they can now go and start learning piano lessons, vocal, and maybe after high school they can discover, aside from having a career that I will want to do and engage in college or campus, I can be able to teach people vocals and maybe how to play piano, how to play guitar. So it's important to also understand, what does your child love to do? What does your child want to engage in? Don't just usiwaachilie na pia usikuwe too strict. Kama ni masomo, wacha wasomo to a certain time, because normally psychologically a human brains ya concentration, lifespan ya concentration ya mwanadamu inakuanga inarangeanga 1 to 2 hours. Sasa kuna mzazi anaambia mtoto wenda kwa room, kaa hapo jifungie mpaka kutoka saa 6 mpaka 4, toka hapo 4. Sasa surely for hiyo hours 4 zote just akuwe na breaks. Unamwambia kama ni kusoma, soma. Kama unataka usaidizi mahali, feel free to ask me. But if you let your child ajue that you are very strict, create that barrier, then it will become a challenge. It will become even hard for them to actually openly communicate to you and tell you that there is a challenge I have. I've experienced bullying in school. I've experienced maybe sodomy or sexual abuse or something like that. Because it's important to understand. Ndio unajua kuna shock fulani wazazi wanapata. Mtoto amemaliza high school, ameenda college or ame-engage in business or something. Then they start realizing that their children are engaged in another harmful behaviors. Maybe, for example, they find that now maybe it's a boy child. Their friends, circle of friends ni boys peke. And you don't question that as a parent. You see, most of the sexual orientation zina happening in schools. Mtoto akiwa primary hapo nama akiwa secondary, there's a lot that happens. Inaweza kuwa alikuwa sexually oriented to something that is more harmful to them, but maybe hakuwa anajua. Then sasa after they complete high school or primary, wakikuwa adults, wakiendelea tu kukua adults, they engage in some things. Unashindwa mbona mtoto wako amefanya hivi na hivi, amekuletea huko una expect. I'm not trying to beef the whatever community, but I'm just trying to say it's important to have those quality conversations, those family connection moments where hata wakati kama ni chakula usikubali ya mtoto wako wakati ni time ya food anaenda kukulia chakula kwa bedroom. Jua ni nini anafanya kwa hiyo bedroom, because you see during this holiday there is a lot of suicide cases that happen, because you see that aspect of either parent ako very strict ama parent ameachilia mtoto sana. So there's that void, there's that gap that has been created in that child, in that child's internal mind, internal body and all that. So it becomes a challenge. So get to be very active and participate in what they do. As much as you also have your personal whatever as a parent, because you also need to go to work and
Yeah, even actually I was to speak on that. We're living in a really fast-paced time. Parents need to make ends meet, so sometimes they don't have time to be present, to be present and be there in the house.
No, that's
especially during this time.
That's an excuse.
I know it may sound like an excuse. It may sound like an excuse, but tuambiane ukweli, like tunatafuta pesa, right? So unapata tuseme the dad leaves the house by 6 a.m. na ametoka ameenda kazini, and he remains engaged throughout the day, maybe comes back home at 7 p.m. Now again they need to prepare for tomorrow. So sometimes I want to extend some grace to some of the parents.
It's good to extend the grace,
busy.
But it's an excuse. Let me just say this for a fact. Hiyo venye unasema hiyo yote ni excuse, because you see venye umesema mzazi anatoka kwa nyumba 6 na maybe unasema hana hiyo time na mtoto. Hiyo 6 akitoka kwa nyumba it's a small things that matters. Akitoka kwa nyumba, can they go maybe kwa bedroom ya mtoto?
Amelala.
Hata kama amelala, that voice ya nimeenda job, ukuwe na siku poa, or just that. Ama juu hata ukiwa kazi, I believe in any private or public business or work environment, si kuna breaks, si kuna tea break, kuna lunch break, na kuna maybe break ya jioni, whichever. Hiyo break, hata kama unapewa break ya 1 hour na unataka kukula, you can just make a call for just a minute or 2 to check on your child on how they are doing. Because if you say uko busy sana hauna time, inamaanisha hata we mwenyewe haujajipanga, then you will personally as a parent you will experience burnout. You should have the balance. As much as uko na kazi mingi unafanya, kuwa na ile balance ya ile free time uko nayo kidogo, just that call kujulia mtoto hali, unaendeleaje, unafanya nini. It matters, because let me give you a practical example. Ni juzi nilikuwa napanda public means, na I saw the conductor akiongea na the child akimwambia umekula, na ako kwa gari bado analipisha fare. So you want to tell me these people are not busy? They are busy, but they can make time to call their children and ask unafanya nini, umekula, umekula, uko sawa, uko na kitu unahitaji, you see. So ukisema ati mzazi hawezi kuwa na time ya kucheck in na mtoto na kumwangalia na kumjulia hali hata kama ako job ama ako busy, that's an excuse, Vivian. You can always create even a minute or 2 in a whole day, because siku inakuanga na 12 hours. Ukiamua kutoka asubuhi na maybe unaenda job 6 na unatoka job kitu 10 ama 9 ama 8 ama 7, in hapo yote unataka kuniambia hautakuwa na time ka kupumzika?
So you need to be intentional.
That's the word. And create a balance.
Parenting and create a
intentional parenting, and have a balance to know this is not only you as a parent, you also have kids. It's not a selfish family. It's an intentional family where you engage each other, you and the kids. So as much as uko busy, that 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 minutes to call your child and just check on them, wanafanya nini, wako wapi. Hata kama maybe you are a single parent na maybe umeenda kazi, umeacha mtoto nyumbani, check on them. Umekula, unaendelea, unafanya such those small things, they matter. See ati ile kitu kubwa sana, the small things that you do as a parent really matter.
All right, get to be part of this conversation. The number is right there on your screens, 0716103301, 0716103301. You are allowed to call us live and talk to us, or you can just send us a WhatsApp message. We want to know how you are planning on, navigating this time, this period of time, the whole of November, the whole of December, that you will be having your child at home? Tuambie wewe unafanya nini? You know, what are you doing to ensure that your child, as much as they are home, they are also just as safe as they usually are when they're in school? They're also just as engaged, their minds are also just as engaged. And you know, Anthony, even speaking about that, speaking as a psychologist, why is it important to always have, you know, a child, you know, engaged even, you know, mentally, emotionally, mentally specifically as well? Why is it so important? The reason why that is important is because, you see, as a human being, you need to be active, and not only in one particular lifestyle. You need to engage your mind, your body, your spirit, your physical activity and all that with something. You see, the moment you are not engaged in something, or maybe you're engaged in one particular thing for some time without having to balance or switch or do some other things that are helpful, just as in, see, life is not too serious, Vivian. Kuna time you need to rest, you need to play. You need to play, and you need to also to be serious. So it's important, and the importance of why we need to engage your child or engage yourself as a child who is at home or something with something that you're doing is because it will keep you active, and it will keep you on toes, and it will help you understand really what real life is. Because you see, life is not all about just being serious and all that. You need also to have that time to play, have some good time, quality time, relax, maybe video game for 20 minutes, kidogo tu, for just kurelax mind yako. But the moment you're not doing something constructive, or you're doing something constructive for some time without having to give breaks for yourself, then it becomes a challenge. All right, let us pick our first caller, Dixon from Eldoret. Good morning.
Give breaks for yourself, then it becomes a challenge.
All right, let us pick our first caller, Dixon from Dixon, kindly mute your TV. Mute TV yako tafadhali, ndo tuweze kuelewana.
Yes, good morning.
How are you? Talk to us. Tuambie wewe unapangaje during this time.
Okay.
Please mute your TV. Please mute your TV. Zima volume ya TV.
This holiday. Oh, okay.
Okay. Dixon? Dixon, hi. Can you hear me? Oh, we've lost him. Kindly, when you call us, just mute your TV so that we can be able to get to understand each other. Ukiwa unajisikiza, tunakusikia pia tunajisikiza tena. Just mute your TV when you call, ndo tuweze kuelewana. Dixon, you can call back. Anyway, let's continue with the conversation. And by the way, Nelly has joined us. Nelly Mutai, who's a multimedia creative and also an actress. Welcome to the program.
Asante sana.
Sasa Nelly, you've joined us when we were talking about this conversation. We're just trying to look at how to ensure that our kids are engaged when they're at home. And also as parents, like, what role are you supposed to play right now? Are you the kind of parent mwenye sasa unashindwa hawa watoto sasa huu muda wote nafaa kufanya nini na? And there's something we were talking about with Anthony. The thing that, you know, right now, people are busy. Tunatafuta pesa sisi sote. So a parent is maybe wondering, sasa napata time ya kukaa na mtoto nyumbani saa ngapi na naenda kumtafutia school fees ya next term saa ngapi? So what's your take on that?
I feel like holidays are a moment for parents to really bond with their children. You know, these are the days you wake up in the morning, you see your child briefly, they go to school, and then sometimes you see them briefly in the evening or sometimes not. So I feel like parents should really create time to bond with their children. This is not a time to take your kids to go to their grandparents, you know, like pushing them away. No, you need to create activities.
Allow me to cut you short, kidogo. Let's pick this caller. Morris from Taita, good morning. Good morning, Morris. Zungumza nasi. Wewe unafanya nini na watoto wakati huu?
Good morning, Morris. Hello.
We can hear you.
Hello.
Tunakusikia Morris.
Hello?
Kindly mute your TV, tunakusikia.
Hello?
Wow, okay, I think we're having issues with our calls today. All right, I think we're having issues with our call, but kindly, when you call, just mute your TV. But remember, you can also send a message via WhatsApp. The number is the same, 0716-103-301. Yes, let's get back to you, Nelly.
So I was saying, this is a time for parents to really bond with their children. Like, it's not the time for you to send your kids away to their aunties, to their... grandparents. So, yani unaona ni kama imekuwa stressful. No, it's time for parents to bond with their children, create activities. It is possible. It is possible to work, and unaona kids, they thrive in what do you call it? Like a program. Even in school, they know time, a structure. Like in the morning, I'm having tea. Sunday, I'm playing this. So kids thrive in structure, even at home. So create a program. Like this is the time you wake up. If you have a kid, moja naitwa Kevin, moja naitwa Almasi. Almasi, you're watering the plants. Give them chores, give them duties, create a program, engage with them, let them have activities. You will find that holidays will be more interesting and more fun than just seeing it like a burden.
But Nelly, do you agree? Because Vivian was arguing something. She was saying that the moment parents are normally busy, wanasema wako busy, wameshikana na job, hawawezi engage na watoto. Do you think that's not an excuse? Hiyo ni excuse, so they can create time.
It's an excuse.
They can just create
because I feel like for things that you love, you create time.
Exactly.
These same parents have time to socialize with their friends. They go out, they do social gathering things, they go to church, So I feel like it's an excuse. Yes, I do agree. Parents can get busy, but you can also create time.
Yeah. So it's what we were saying earlier on. It's just intentionality. Ensuring that you're being intentional. Remember, during this time is also the time when also all the predators are also now awake, because they know there are children who are very idle. And we were talking about the phones and the fact that now, screen times, almost even 5-year-olds have phones, 2-year-olds have phones. So this is also the time when predators are taking advantage of this. So maybe for the parent who's watching us, what's the best way to go about ensuring that your child, your child stays protected in all of this? Simu yake. How to just ensure that you're following up on what they're looking at. What are they watching, as you had mentioned earlier? Who are they talking to? Because you never know, someone anaweza kuwa ameingia, wako na mpaka Instagram accounts, anasema I've gotten this new friend. She's saying she's 12 years old, but Saizo, it's not a 12-year-old. It is a whole, adult.
There are these applications where kids play games, then they start chatting with other people that they play games with, and some of them are grown adults. So I feel like phones should be protected. There's always that family link that links your phone to your child. Check your child's phone all the time and have that like family link, because I have it with my daughter's tablet. Like I see everything she looks at, and then I've also done a time limit. Like maybe now because it's holidays, I'll put 3 hours. On school days, I usually put 1 hour. So like after she's done her assignment and she plays, after 1 hour it goes off. She can't use it. So like limit peer time, because then again there'll be over, a lot of screen time is also not good for development of kids.
For me, I'd say I have a brother. He is actually 19 years. He's a teenager. Hiyo monitor venye anasema will be difficult for a teenager. It will be extremely difficult. So personally, because I'm the firstborn, unajua firstborns wanakuanga deputy parents.
Yes, you are. By default.
By default.
Me being a deputy parent, I've seen my parents, as much as they're engaged on what they are doing on their phones, personally, I take my brother's phone. Literally, namwambia nipatie simu yako.
Anthony, let's pick this caller first. We have John from Malindi. John, good morning.
Hello.
Hi, how are you? Tueleze John, wewe unafanya nini na watoto wakati huu wa holidays?
Mimi watoto niko nao nyumbani. Sikuwapeleka kwa mama yao. Sasa huwa nawapeleka kama activities kama beach. Kwenda kuswim. Juu alikuwa kinisumbua sana, shule zilikuwa on. They like swimming, so sasa ina katu program at least twice a week tunaenda beach naogelea. Alafu pia nyumbani hapa kuna hizi holiday assignment books nilichukua, so kuna program anafanya assignment ili kwa kibiza sasa, maanake holiday ni ndefu sana.
Kwa hiyo unatafuta wakati wa kuwa nao.
Na ni lazima maanake hiyo alipokuwa shule I was not with them.
Yes.
Wakati wengine wamekuwa wamenilisi sana. So I create time to be with them. At least to create the bonding.
Yes,
absolutely.
Nice.
All right. Thank you so much, John. There you have it. By the intentionality. In one way or the other, you just look at ways to just create that time in order to bond with your child. You know, and for those, I keep wanting to extend grace to the ones who maybe they don't have that time. I know you've said hakuna cha kupata, kukua hauna time, but just trying to extend. Kwa wale ambao they feel like it's overwhelming. You know, you had mentioned this is not the time to send your kid maybe aende kwa auntie fulani, but kwa yule ambaye it's overwhelming for them, is it not just fine taking them to a place where you know huku kuna adults wenye wako 24/7, like for example up country, you know their grandmother is there and the grandmother is present in the house, and you know mimi nikiwa nyumbani sipatikani jamani.
Tuangalie the reality wazazi wengi wakipeleka watoto ushago sio atijua hawana wakati. Wanajua kwa nini wanafanya hivyo, either wana hepa responsibility ama hawataki kusumbuliwa. You see, mtoto ndo akuwe msumbufu, inaanzanga from the environment, na wazazi wenyewe ndio wameinstill hiyo kusumbua. Sasa wewe kuchukua watoto wako wapeleke nyumbani, hiyo haimaanishi ati sasa uko overwhelmed, because sasa kama uko overwhelmed basi si lazima create your balance. Hata kama yes unaweza kuwa uko busy, useme sasa watoto kama ni kupeleka watoto nyumbani, wacha ikuwe from clear grounds that na kupeleka nyumbani kwa either shosho yako, grandmother, grandfather, kubond na wao, si ati ni kwa sababu niko overwhelmed. Because wewe kusema uko overwhelmed ni excuse. Wapeleke ndio wakuwe na time, na the other people ndio wapate, maybe now speaking from a single parenting, maybe single mothers, wakati wako nyumbani, if it's a boy child and these boys need other men, na maybe yeye anakaa Nairobi na nyumbani ni kama huko Eldoret, Kisii and stuff, ni vizuri wapeleke huko, kama kuna wajomba, kama kuna grandfather, aende interact now, but isikuwe from a point of mimi nimechoka, niko overwhelmed, niko na mambo zangu, wacha niwasukume huko. Hapana.
Vivian, there's this issue. There's some parents who don't even know who their kids are. They even call to school, they're being told their child is a bully, they are shocked. They don't even know, because they don't even spend time with these kids. They don't know who they are. They don't know their personalities, things they like, things they do, if they are being naughty and things like that. So I would urge parents, at least for the first 2-3 weeks, because this holiday is really long. You see, like it's more than 2 months. So at least stay with your kids for a while, and then maybe you can send them on. You can send them to their grandparents or their relatives. And also the idea of sending to grandparents is not bad, because nowadays here in Nairobi or in like urban places, we don't touch grass. We don't touch grass. Like I feel like we're not in touch with reality. But when you go to maybe up countries, you get to see the cows. Like I realized a few months ago, I think my daughter saw a cow for the first time.
Oh, really?
A few months ago. No, but I like ameona kwa like in
the books and
books, but not like this. So it's really also good to send them home or play with the chickens and all that. It's also nice, but don't do it as a way of like, you know, getting away from that responsibility. Like, oh, this is a lot of work. No. Just do it so that they can also bond with their grandparents and relatives, and also just get in touch with nature. It's also beautiful.
Umesema mtoto wako ameona ng'ombe for the first time, nikakumbuka I also have a relative alipeleka ushago for the first time, akaona kuku, akaulizwa hii ni nini, akasema hii ni mbuzi.
Kuku.
Like they don't really have that touch, that ground understanding really, because unajua sasa ushago kuna hiyo nini, kuna hiyo touch yenye unaweza kuwa nayo, si kama si kama tao.
Or like on TV. So it's also a good thing.
I feel like you know, with the conversation that we've had so far, we've really based it on maybe younger children. You know, I want us now to try look at teenagers, you know, Form 1 students, Form 2, Form 3, you know, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds. I'm sure keeping up with them is very different compared to the smaller ones, you know, the ones in primary school. It's definitely different. So now for a parent who has 3 teenagers in the house.
Now for teenagers, now let's talk about the challenge here. For teenagers, you see these people, hao watu wako na knowledge kubwa sana. They have the knowledge sana, wanaitananga soshi. Soshi unajua inamaanisha uko na following maybe Instagram ama TikTok. Soshi ni mtu akona jina, na jina ni through maybe the following. So unasikia tu ni soshi. I remember Malinaka, there are 2 teenagers naonanga huko wana pose for pictures, wako na headphones and all that. They are teenagers. So handling teenagers is a bit tricky, but what I really...
Let's listen to Lydia first and then we'll get back to that. Lydia from High Rise, morning.
Hello.
Hi, how are you, Lydia? How are you navigating?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm watching the program. And I am really thankful for you bringing such program.
Thank you, you're welcome.
And I think parents should create time to be with their children. We can't say that we are too busy. We need to find time. Me personally, I am a busy person, but during holiday, I find time to teach them how to cook. I teach them the house chores, and also the part of play, like creating time to take them even for swimming.
Yes.
And they really learn a lot. And like my daughter, she has really learned a lot in cooking because of the time that I create. Like now, she can cook chapatis even when I'm not in the house.
Wow, nice.
And she's just 15 years old.
So that's a teenager. Actually, we're talking on how to engage the teenagers, and that's a good way through cooking as well.
And another thing also, like when we have the church programs, we let them join. Like in our church where I go, we normally have the ropes camp. And that one also, they will be there for a week and they will learn the word of God.
Nice.
And it's really helping. It's really helping them to grow and even to learn to be better people. And I personally say, us as parents, we should have good time with these children, because if we leave them to the caregivers, they miss out a lot.
Absolutely.
They miss out a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lydia. Thank you.
He never lost his composure on and off the pitch in his bid to become one of the most lethal strikers in Kenyan football. Call him JB, Kapi, Bari, whatever you like. But his full name, John Baraza, will remain imprinted on soccer lovers' minds in this country for a long time due to his exploits.
When we were in primary, I had already known what is my destiny. So it was football, because I was as good in football while still in primary. In primary, I was in Gilgil Township, that is in Nakuru, and secondary or high school, it was St. Charles Luanga in Kakamega. I just continued carrying on with the football thing, especially in the western part of the country. All the schools, they participate competitively in football. So that one kept on encouraging me up to this moment.
It's all in the genes, they must have said, as they watch him follow in his father's footsteps in Western Kenya, where he was born.
Since my father was also a player, and I was always, as a young boy, I was helping him with the training kids, carrying it. When it is off time, when we are not in school, I was helping him in carrying the kids, the training gears to the place where they were training. So at least I started developing an interest in football when I was younger.
So talented was he that our clubs came calling left, right and center, but he had to settle for the nearest, for starters.
After leaving the secondary school, I went to the place, to Gilgil, where my dad was working with the Kenya Post and Communication. So they were having a team. So slowly I started training with them. After the coach there saw that I can maybe, even though I was young, but I can play good as well. So they enlisted me in their team. So the team was called Gilgil Telecom.
He later ended up with the top flight of football, where he tasted glory with the Oserian First Tack before it was disbanded later.
With the Oserian, I can say were somehow memorable, because we were able to win, especially me. I was able to win the KPL title for the first time, and it was my first team in KPL, so it was good for me. We won the title 2 times in a row with the Oserian, and also individually I got a Golden Boot award.
He decided to relocate to neighboring countries in search of greener pastures, which also sharpened his skills.
I left Oserian, but luckily enough I got a chance to go to Sweden. Again in Sweden, it was not the top league, the second league to the top. It is called Superlatan. Superlatan is the second league to the top league. So I joined the team. We were participating in that league, but again we did not perform well. We got relegated. So when we were relegated, again the issue of money came in again. We have to cut the foreign players from the team so that they can save their funds. So again, I was among the guys. So I came back home, and then I was taken by the young African of Tanzania, Yanga. Yeah, I went to Yanga in 2005. They said I was the best foreign player in the league. After we won the league the second year, I came back on a holiday in Kenya, but another offer came. So I was still with the Yanga, but another offer came. So the guys from Malaysia, so they wanted me to go to Malaysia. And I saw their deal. It was good maybe than the Tanzanian people. So I told them to talk to the club, to the people from Tanzania. They agreed. So off I went to Malaysia again. Malaysia was good for me because I joined the team. It was not the top league, it was the second league, but we performed well. They got promoted, and I was a top scorer in that team. After the season, after them being promoted to the top division, some issues came up that I was not happy with. I left and came to Kenya, but I did not play in Kenya. I went to Rwanda. I signed a contract with the Rayon, but 1 year into my contract, even not 1 year, like 8 months, I decided to come because I was not like with Rwanda. I was having some problem with my left leg.
John Baraza later returned home, where he turned out for Chemelil before he signed with Sofapaka. And that turned out to be a long-term commitment and a long-time affair.
When I first came, I was able to meet the chairman or the president of the team. And now when he talked to me, then I saw what he was also seeing in his vision. Then I thought, I just said this is the right place to me, because he wanted a team that maybe in 5 or 10 years, he wanted a team that will be somewhere in Kenyan football or continental football. And surely I can say we did not disappoint, because in between there we have been representing the country. We won the league, and we have been among the top performers for quite a number of years. So I can say at least we are working towards his vision. One thing I can say that is good with Sofapaka, they live as a family. That is one thing that attracted me to them, because they kind of be with you, whether it is hard times or good times. You still laugh together. You still, if it is problem, you suffer together. So that is one thing that majorly attracted me to Sofapaka. Match-wise is 2009 when I first joined Sofapaka, and we won the league. And also I got the best player award in the league, and also I was the top scorer in the league. So I can say that is my highlight with Sofapaka.
And that is where he unleashed his lethal strikes that took Batoto Bamungu to glory to earn the captain's armband as well, in a combination of characteristics that spoke of a true sportsman.
Strikers, we are charged by goals. If you score, you are a good striker. If you don't score, no matter how good you are in dribbling, dodging, you don't score, the coach will prefer the one that scores, because that one brings the points. But the other guy is entertaining the fans. When you play as a striker, you have to raise your aerial. You have to anticipate. You have to know. By always playing, you have to know the I can say the ways of the ball. You see in football, especially around the goal area, a ball has its own way of passing, or a route, I can say. So you have to anticipate this ball. When somebody else heads it or try to shoot, the most likely area the ball will go. You have to know. That is something that you just work on by yourself.
He became a beacon of success due to his eyes for goals, as his numerous awards attest in the Kenya Premier League, where he won the Golden Boot 4 times, as well as the Fair Play Award a number of times, just like his role model Ronaldo has done on the world stage.
When I started playing, or when I admired to join KPL, that I said to myself that if I want to be remembered, especially in a country that has a lot of strikers, the past and the current, you have to do something that they have not done. So when I went to the history of KPL and checked, I saw that nobody has maybe come out on top in the Golden Boot race 4 times. So I just say this is an opportunity that I have to grab. So I was always, that is why always, when you go and check, you will find at least I'm a top 6, top 5, top 10 scorers. That is why I was working hard to make that history that I wanted to make for myself.
John Baraza was also a regular in the national soccer team Harambee Stars, where he was privileged to play and score in Kenya's first win in the 2004 Africa Cup of Nations against Burkina Faso, among other memorable outings, both home and away.
That one is so special to me because it is a higher stage for any footballer, especially in Africa. Other than the World Cup, that one is second to the World Cup. At least we did not disappoint, because the teams that were representing us, the Kenyan team that used to represent us before, they had never won a match. But as we went out, at least we won a match. And also in that match, I scored against Burkina Faso. The first memory that maybe most of people don't know is when we played in, you remember the Castle Cup? Yeah, the 3 Nations Castle Cup in Tanzania. The first one we hosted here, I was never in the team, but we never carried the cup. The second one we also hosted here, but we never again carried the cup. But now that one, the tournament was in Tanzania and Dar es Salaam. So we were still new with the coaches, but I was lucky because I scored the equalizing goal against Uganda before we went into penalties, and at least that goal turned things around for us. Another one, even though it was not a cup, but it was good. It was when we were in Cape Verde. The Kenyans used to say that the national team never wins an away match, but there we went. We won the match in Cape Verde, a very difficult place, but I also scored the winning goal, the 1-0 goal, and it pushed us into AFCON.
He recalls his winning combination with Dennis Olich, which always paid off in times of dire need.
Another one is Sakafa 2002. We were with the coach Ghost there. Again, it was memorable to me because I was able to come out with 3 goals. That time we were signing with Olich. Cannot forget Olich because Olich scored 5, I scored 3. Even in Castle Cup, we were with Olich. I keep on mentioning his name because we were doing good with him that time. Okay, we won the cup. away in Mwanza, in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania.
His longevity stands out in his career, which came about as a result of resilience, discipline, and humility.
One thing that you have to do if you want to survive that long like me is to adapt the situation around you. Before you join somewhere, you have to at least to understand what is happening into that place. If it is a team, what is happening with the softbacker, what is happening with the goal, how do they like their thing to be carried? Because when you join the team, you know the coach will say, I want my players to behave this way, I want my players to behave this way, I want my players to come early in training. So if you follow such small details, you will never clash with the coach.
And come 2016, he decided to hang up his playing boots after capping it all with the 2015 SJOC KPL Fair Play Award.
For me, it was not an abrupt decision because it is something that I had thought about it for the last 1 year. When I was still active, when I was still in the ground, I had at least tried to talk to my coaches that come the end of the season, I would like to quit playing football. So they had already prepared me. They had said, okay, you can do this and this. So when it came that time of announcement or announcing to the football fraternity, I had already known what I wanted. So it was just easy to tell them that this is the time to quit.
How did the Manchester City supporter manage to maintain his calm in the murky waters of Kenyan football?
In football, everybody has got a talent. God is the one who gives the talent, so everybody has got a talent. But other things, you have to develop them by yourself. So something like calmness is my thing. I just developed on it because I wanted to succeed in the area that I operate, especially in the field. So I operate in the front where you have to score goals. So you have to be calm. Otherwise, when you rush, you will never score a goal. So it's something personal that you just have to develop, especially calmness. People say it is not possible, but sometimes, to me, I say when you keep on watching these international matches, you can see how tough the referee is on the players. But you can see how good other players gain from not interfering with the referee. So I always try to look. I can say, this guy is maybe famous and he's always playing. Why is he not getting into problem with the referee? Why is he not getting the cards? So you try to copy what the other player who is more famous, who has everything, but is not getting the cards. So you try to copy. Like me now, when I always watch, I don't always watch just to see the goals, but I watch to see the character of the other top players.
Ningapatwa na marasmus.
Aje buda, what's up marada?
Marata iko huko Kisumu ni sule.
Sijajuanga watu type hii zenu pia usikia njaa.
Nina stuka wewe.
Aya. Ojo, for real, I'm shocked.
Inama. Kucha, enda vizuri.
Karibu Kasto.
Kwani leo umeleta buffet?
Chuweke nyama sefil.
Wewe sijui unaitwa mama nani, sijui mama nje.
Kuna vyombo ulinipatia?
Mukaka mtafadhali, utachapa mama ya wenyewe nikiwa hapa. Wacha niando hii kesi.
Got the fear of missing out? Want to keep up with all the latest entertainment news and latest celebrity gossip? From the latest rumors to popping events to the newest fashion trends, here is where you get all the tea or juice when it comes to entertainment, and you get it served on time. All that and so much more on Grapevine